Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 299 of Sports Cards Live. It's Saturday night, January the 17th, 2026. My name is Jeremy Lee. We have a fun show tonight, but first, a few quick announcements. If you're thinking about adding a grail to your collection, check out Fund Your Cards, The Hobby's top consolidated. They will help you finance high-end purchases using your own cards. Visit fundyourcards.com. And if you're looking to sell your vintage collection, reach out to Leighton Sheldon of Just Collect for competitive and transparent valuation and payment processes. He would love to speak with you. You can email Leighton at justcollect.com. And guys, check out Chronosio, the ultimate card inventory manager for collectors and dealers. Their AI autofill is 90% accurate with fully integrated eBay connection, trusted since 2017, and is used to list and sell millions of cards. Whether you manage 1,000 cards or 250,000 cards, Chronosio scales with you, now offering flexible pricing and an annual plan where you pay for 10 months and get 12. Elevate your inventory management at home.chronosio.com. And guys, the Front Row Card Show is this weekend in San Diego with 425 tables, in Tacoma with 400 tables, and Pasadena 540 table show is coming January 31st and February 1st. Visit frontrowcardshow.com for show dates and locations. And join my Card Post, guys, the only no selling fee, subscription-based marketplace, and use the SCL ambassador code in the video description below. And guys, don't forget the show is available on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow for free. If you're enjoying the content, please leave a rating or a review. It really does help. Tell a damn friend, as Brett would say from Stacking Slabs. Huge thank you to all of our loyal viewers and podcast listeners. If you haven't already subscribed, take a moment and do so. And as always, your comments and your questions are in play. All right, let's welcome everybody to the show. From the chat, I will mention we have Jonathan Epstein. He'll be joining us in about 15 minutes or so. We're gonna have Joe Perreault joining us after the Niners-Seahawks game, which last I looked wasn't looking too good for the Niners. We are now 24-6 for the Seahawks at the half. We'll see how that goes in the third quarter. And then Chris McGill and Josh Adams will be joining us as well. We've got Hoops Hobby Hangout here for the live. So many thoughts on this topic. We have a few topics we will address tonight. Chris C says, if the hobby is a cult, then PSA is serving the Jim Jones Kool-Aid. Laura, good evening to you. Welcome, Jacob Dahl. Chris C, Yankees fan, watching the game. Keep us posted. Cardboard Trap House is here. Welcome to the show. Dave Snyder is looking for Bob Boozle. He should be here, Dave. Welcome to the show, Dave, as well. Feeling bad for Bo Nix. I saw that. Not good at all. Confluence is early for once. Welcome to the show. Larry Gitlin, good to see you. The Broncos do move on. Brad's Vintage, good evening, and go Bears. Sammy Hill, welcome, welcome. Sports Card Reverie, good evening, and welcome to the show. Hoops Hobby saying hello. Jeff McMahon is here. Dave Snyder, I'm not in the mood for fluff. Buffalo is suffering from, I don't know what that is, Dave Snyder, but I hope you're okay, buddy. I hope you're okay. Hello, Orlando. Welcome, welcome. Linda's first, good evening. Sports Card, good evening from the frigid northern Minnesota. Yeah, it can get cold there for sure. Outlaws is here. We got Called Shot Cards. Hello, Jay Peterman. Good evening. Morpheus is here. Mookie Chilson. What's up, Mookie? Chris C. I hope Houston pulls off the upset, but not optimistic. Chad Shipper. Welcome to the live chat, Brad. Chad, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Jim's Shoal is here. Found Treasures. Carl Carl, what's going on? From Oz, David, good evening. Curmudgeon is here. Michael Ham is here. Boy, we got a busy chat already. Willie T, what is going on? Foul Ball, welcome to the show. David Cooey from Muskegon, Michigan or Minnesota. I think that's Michigan. Rob Star, what's going on? Luke, we got Saba from China, but he's a Canadian living in China. It looks like Ken Wood is on the spectrum, and he is a hybrid. Welcome to the show, Ken Wood. All right, well, guys, good to have everybody here. Like I said, we got a fun show coming tonight. A few things I want to mention while we just do this, intro part of the show stuff is Collector Investor Auctions, guys. Their auction is ending tomorrow night at collectorinvestorauctions.com. I wanted to show you a bit about that, if I may. They're a sponsor of the channel. This is collectorinvestorauctions.com. So I just want to go through a few of the items in the top row here, guys. A Dennis Rodman Precious Metal Gems out of 50 at $6,750 right now. A Jackie Robinson 48 Leaf rookie. Who doesn't love that card? I do. Not my favorite Babe Ruth card of all of the 30s Babe Ruth, but still a vintage Babe Ruth card. Jesse Owens. This is what's going on at Collector Investor Auction, guys. They have vintage, they have modern, they have all different sports tickets. A cool Sadaharu O card right there. Nice Paul Skeens patch. So you can go to Collector Investor Auctions, guys, and scroll through the items. 7 pages this month. It's a monthly auction. We're going to have Jeremy, the Texas Snowman, joining us in March here on the channel for a show. Hockey-wise, guys, they have a whole PMG employee set up right now. These are graded by PSA, mostly 9s, and there's a Gretzky, right? They're not numbered. The one of the years, I think Upper Deck stopped numbering those. There's a nice Crosby autograph, a beautiful Sign of the Times auto, a nice Connor Bedard card there. And there we go. And Front Row Card Show this weekend, next weekend, Pasadena, California, as I just mentioned. So anyway, I just wanted to get the, familiarize everybody. If you're not yet with Collector Investor Auctions, I'm sure many of you are. Check them out, collectorinvestorauctions.com. I want to thank a few fellow content creators for having me on their channel over the last week or so, guys. I'm going to start with thanking Cajun Cardboard here. You're probably familiar with Brian Dennison of Cajun Cardboard, and if you go to his channel, this episode right here, he had me on, and we talked about the hobby spectrum, among other things. So you can check that out on his channel. Professor Sports Cards had me on a live stream just on Wednesday. It's this one here. He's titled it Hobby Heroes or Villains. But this one I was on for quite a bit, I think over an hour during what is a 2-hour live stream yet. So thank you to Jason, Professor Sports Cards. Also, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast had me on recently as well. This episode right here, we did a 2026 Vintage Hockey Outlook with myself. So this was 2 days ago. You can see that. It's a 3-hour episode. I was on for about an hour, I believe, on that one. And then finally, Dr. Beckett, he did an episode on the hobby spectrum here about 8 days ago, but I recorded a couple episodes with him just a few days ago, and they haven't hit his podcast or YouTube, but they'll be out soon if you guys wanted to listen to that. So that's what I kind of wanted to just sort of get to in terms of thanking all those guys for having me on their channels. It's always nice when you're invited on other content creators, platforms, and I'm grateful for that and the opportunity to share the story, talk about the projects I've been working on, and all those things. Also want to let you guys know one other thing. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing the Fanatics Collect weekly auction-ending watch party here on the channel. Always fun. Thursday is the premiere show with Adam Gray. We've got some giveaways. Fanatics Collect has given us some giveaways that we're going to do during the episode. So that'll be on Thursday for the premiere show. And on Monday, guys, I'm going to show you guys one more sort of channel partner here. These guys here at Miller & Miller Auctions. I've done a couple shows with them, helping them get the word out about their auction. This one ends on the 25th. These items are live already. A full set of 62 Topps baseball and Mickey Mantle 52 Topps. The Stanley Cup card. This is the Stanley Cup's rookie card. It's from 1924 Champs. Pretty cool. There's a Stanley Cup award that was given out, and so on and so forth. Check out Miller & Miller, guys, as well. Some good people there doing a nice auction that they do a few times a year for sports cards. So I want to thank those guys for what they're doing as well. The book, Pops and Comps. The book is imminent, guys. We've with the interior is going. I've made my comments on the interior design. It's going to go back to the designer, and we'll turn that around. The cover is basically done at this point as well. I think it should be. It depends how long it takes Amazon to turn around your upload. It should be available, I'm hoping, by February 1st. That'll definitely be pretty cool. I'm excited to get that out for everybody. And and then I just want to leave something personal. So today I took my little guy. He's 6 years old. I took him to his first hockey game. We went to the Flames game, the Calgary Flames against the New York Islanders. The Flames won. We went early to the game. We went down to the glass where the players were doing their warm up, and we made a sign. He had it up against the glass. We were just on the other side of the boards, of course, and I was holding him up a little bit, and one of the players they come over, and they flick pucks over the glass high up, and a few times they maybe did 5 or 6 of them in the area that we were kind of hanging out. And at one point, and I wish I remember what player it was. It was either one of the, like, not one of the stars of the team. It was either Lomberg or Klapka. Came close to us, flipped the puck over, and I'm 6.5 feet tall, guys, so I had a pretty easy time grabbing that puck and giving it to my son. So that was a really cool experience that we got to have today, which was highly enjoyable, of course, to get your little guy to his first professional sporting event. Jim at the bank, welcome. The gang is all here, says Orlando. Yes, they are. Brad, how large is the Spectrum weight limit? You've got your code. Everyone's got their codes, unless you asked for it in the last 36 hours. Codes are sent out the next day, basically. If you haven't got it, you just got to check your spam, sort of thing. But they've all been sent out. If you haven't received it or you can't find it, just message me directly, or request another one, I suppose. But that might not work, because I'm sending them from the Hobby Spectrum's email account, and maybe those are ending up in some spam buckets somewhere in your accounts. But everyone should have them by now. Again, unless you requested it like yesterday morning, sort of thing. So Brad, let me know. Reach out to me somewhere else, and I can try and get you one another way from a different email address, perhaps. We'll have to see. Morpheus, gonna have to watch the second half of the Niners game. Thank you, Morpheus. Go watch the game. The sports card professor is here. What's up, sports? Now there's 2 professors. We got the sports card professor, and we've got Professor Sports Cards. They are not the same person, you guys. They are not the same person. This is not the guy with the YouTube channel, but Professor, welcome. Carl, I've been trying to get on the Spectrum survey for a while. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but all good. Yeah, there's not much to do. If you are not, guys, you can email me. Here, let me just find right here. This is the email address. You can send me an email directly to this email. It's on the screen right now. sportscardsliveshow@gmail.com. Send me an email and tell me that you have not received your code. If you already requested one through the hobbyspectrum.com, because if you requested, like I said, they have gone out. So, and also check your spam boxes or your junk boxes, whatever they might be. So that's for Carl as well. Make sure you check those. Yeah, Sammy Hill, been having some invites lately. It's always great to get out there. Professor says Paul Hickey gave lots of discussion to his followers and channel about the Hobby Spectrum, and Paul was disappointed he did not achieve Tycoon. Linda, Thursday's premiere show are the absolute best for this or that. We have fun on the Thursday Fanatics premiere shows on here, guys. So join us on Thursday. Me and Adam Gray, the Real 27 guy, will be back for that. Sammy Hill's looking forward. Yeah, we play this or that on the show, which is a lot of fun. We put a couple cards up on the screen, and we just sort of say, which one would you rather have? Adam answers, I answer, and the chat answers. It's a lot of fun. Yes, it was his first game. We got the win. And here's the other thing I did. This is the little clue or a tip for anybody who might want to accept a tip from me on this. So the tickets are all digital nowadays, as you all know. So what I did was I took a screenshot of the tickets that I received from Ticketmaster they were transferred to me from a friend of mine. And I want to thank a hobby friend actually gave the tickets to me to take my kid. And so I want to thank him. But I screenshot the tickets and then I fed them into ChatGPT and I said, can you turn these into as if they were original tickets like in the old days? So it did. And they turned out really cool. So I printed them on like a thicker stock paper just through my usual printer. I cut them out and then I gave him a ticket. So when we walked into the game, there's no, they want to scan your ticket. So I had my phone ready to go, but I said to him, show the lady your ticket. So she did. And I heard two people. We were early, so there weren't a lot of people. I heard two other like ticket scanners that were just over. I heard one of them say, no, it's not a fake ticket. It's like a souvenir ticket. I thought it was kind of funny that I thought we were trying to sneak in with fake tickets, but no, it was just a rendition of the actual digital ticket that I made. So he had the experience of like, I said, can you scan it for him? And she did. And then she scanned the tickets from my phone. So that was a lot of fun. And he's going to save that ticket as a little bit of a memento. Chris, so the book title Hop on Pop was taken years ago, so Pops and Comps makes sense. Okay, I don't know Hop on Pop, but yes, we are calling our book here Pops and Comps. Thank you, Orlando. Yeah, we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. Thanks, Jacob Dahl. Yes, it was a great father-son memory for sure. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. What's good? It's clever. Welcome. Mookie says that's what it's all about. Your son will always remember that moment. That's what I wanted to do. I made him a sign. We took it as well. So tried to, I tried to just, again, I want that memory. It's his first game ever. So I thought that was something that we wanted to make sure was really etched into his mind. Good evening, Nick Chen. Welcome. Laura says catching pucks is indeed a talent. Well, it wasn't that hard. I got to be honest. Like we were right there and I was right there and I've got good reach. I could reach above everybody else that was there. Oh, Brad's Vintage found. Okay, awesome, Brad. Brad found his Spectrum access code in his spam. So there you go, Brad. I'm glad it was there. Guys, check your spams if you requested. If you've not yet requested, if you're not yet on the Hobby Spectrum, you can go to thehobbyspectrum.com, request an access code. You'll get it within like 24, 48 hours sort of thing. Jim Scholl says, Jay Lee better than an NFL game. Well, I recommend you guys just have the game on another screen. Maybe you don't have to listen to this or come back and forth. I don't want to take anybody away from their NFL game either. Jeff Hart, what's up, Jeff? Patriot Sports Guards, good to see you. Luke says anything is better than this game. What's the score now? In the game? I'm just going to check. It's 24-6 still. Okay. Halfway through the third quarter. Hobby Champ says, everyone keeps telling me the hobby is dying and the card prices are plummeting, but I can't win a damn card for the price I want to pay to save my life. Yeah, the hobby is not dying. I mean, it's the opposite, but hey, some people have their perspective. They see what they see. The battery, not sure those cards behind you are authentic. Jeremy seems sort of big. Those are not authentic cards, guys. Those are hand-painted original art paintings right there behind me, commissioned locally, and they're awesome. And as I've shown people before, there's a whole other row up above there as well. So I think maybe one of these days I should switch them up. So even people watching the channel here would be able to see more of them just for a while. Maybe we'll do that. Confluence says you can order special occasion, birthday, first game, anniversary tickets from the Flames. There you go. Chris C says, I have ticket subs from sports events and concerts going back to the 80s. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Mr. Manos, what did you miss? Okay, guys, we're going to start this show over again right now for Mr. Manos. Let's rewind. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to the show. David Chase says, Jeremy, if you ran across a card at a show you already love, such as your 48 Leaf Jackie, but found a better copy in a PSA 1, would you buy it and sell your current copy? I'd be so tempted to, David Chase. The only problem for me with that specific card is that, like, I have a PSA 6 48 Leaf Jackie Robinson. If it were to get graded today, I would hope it would get a 5. Maybe it would still get a 6, but let's be real. I'd hope it would get a 5, but it's my copy. I've had it for 13 years. I don't want to give it up. It's like I have this emotional connection, and we're going to get into this with Jonathan when he comes on in a few minutes here, guys. That emotional connection that we have with cards that we've had for so long. So I don't know. I thought about that, David Chase, with respect to my Jackie, and it's like, I could buy a PSA 4. Let me rephrase. I could buy a nicer copy that lives in a PSA 4 holder, probably put money in my pocket, and have a card that is as nice, if not nicer than my 6, because my 6 is very off-centered. That's the only problem with it. But I love my off-centered 6, and I don't want to replace it. So I'm probably not going to, even though nowadays it's probably not even a 6, which is, for like, I'm a low technical grade, high eye appeal guy, but I've got some cards that are overgraded for sure. And it's kind of hard to like get your head around that when it comes to your own cards, that this might not be a 6 anymore, but that's just the reality, right? Wesley collects as a hybrid on the spectrum. He is present. Welcome to the show. Battery says definitely would like to see the Aaron rookie in the frame. Yeah, I'll just try and they're not in a frame. Yeah, I don't have these framed. These are just on the canvas and hanging straight up on the wall, but they're awesome. Like, I come in here and I just almost every day I just look and scan them and enjoy them. Absolutely. Orlando says Confluence is Ruben, has a YouTube channel now. All right, guys, Confluence has a YouTube channel. A lot of people in the chat, not just here, but all chats, commenters on other channels have other YouTube channels. A great way to find other channels to follow as well. Hey, the Hobby Spectrum is a great way to do that too. Once you're on the Hobby Spectrum and you opt into the directory, you can now see, you can find people on all the platforms that they are already utilizing and enjoying. So you will not hop on pop. No, I will not hop on pop. Jim Scholl, if I paid $1 for an extremely miscut 1970 Tony Perez, would I pass the pre-test for the Spectrum? Yeah, probably. There's no pre-test, so I think you would. Chris C, love the 48 leaf Jackie, but it's too high, so I'm saving for a low grade, high eye appeal 49 Bowman. We need a layaway plan for vintage. You can get layaway plans nowadays, even like places like Fund Your Cards and a few others. These guys actually have that kind of program, so you can get that done. Actually, David Chase, if you could choose 3 new card paintings, what are you commissioning? Ricky Henderson rookie card is kind of top of that list right now. I'd probably, after that, I'd probably go with a 48 Bowman Mikan and a 35 Chickle Nagurski. That's probably the way I would go, actually. Yeah, but I don't think I can get any more. I think that the artist who does these for me, she's kind of done with it. I think she's done with painting these paintings for me. I've had 4 more with her, and it's coming up on, I think, close to like 2 years to get them. So she got through these in rounds of like 4, and they would take her 3 or 4 months. And I think she's done. Carl started his channel last week. Lots of fun. Would love you guys to subscribe. Check out Carl from Oz's YouTube channel, everybody. All right, guys, great start. Thanks everybody for being here. So before we bring on Jonathan, I just want to tell you a little bit about him quickly, and then we'll bring him on. So Jonathan is a collector, lifelong collector, new to the public conversation, if you will. And he just started up an Instagram account. It's Rex Cards 24. I believe it's at 24 or 34. I think it's 20. Let's just bring him on. Let him tell you. Jonathan, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come on. He's ready, guys. All right. Give a warm welcome to this guy. He has, again, lifelong collector, first appearance on any podcast or any YouTube show, live stream, anything like that. And I think he's ready to, be a part of the community. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Jonathan Epstein, welcome to Sports Cards Live. How are you? What's going on?
Thank you, Joe. I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me. It feels very weird to be on the other side of the TV,
Well, it's good to have you. It's really good to have you on the channel, on the show here, Jonathan. Rex Cards 24 it's right in your name tag there. You guys can see it on the screen right under his name on Instagram. If you're not yet following him, and a few of you are, go check it out. Rex Cards 24. Give him a follow. And he's already got 6 or 7 posts with cards. But and you're on the Hobby Spectrum. You scored a 28, making you a nostalgic. So let's just start there. What did that resonate with you? How did you feel? How did you enjoy taking the assessment?
Yeah, no, I loved it. And the narrative that you had there, there was like 4 or 5 paragraphs for me. It was like spot on. I know everybody's saying that every week when they come on, but it really did describe me. And there's a lot of truth to all the details that you had in there. It was a very, very, very detailed description.
That's great to hear. I'm glad that it resonated with you, and that maybe put a bit of a framework around kind of what you already thought and felt, I'm sure, for yourself. And so that's really cool. I'm glad that you're on there. And so it's kind of funny, guys. So I shared Jonathan's Instagram profile on my story a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, the day before, and several people followed him. I shared his profile in a vintage group chat that I'm in. A bunch of those guys went and followed him, and then Jonathan went and he went to his account and he went into the notifications, and I guess he went follow. All of a sudden, banned from Instagram. They locked up his account. What happened there, Jonathan?
Yeah, I literally, as I'm like dipping my toe into the waters of trying to get into this community, I'm going to have my Instagram shut down, 11 minutes before I'm getting on to this awesome show that I watch every week. They reinstated it. I think they thought I was a bot by following 13 people in a row, but I'm back. I got my 8 little posts. I'm like surprisingly really enjoying the storytelling part of it. It's been super fun just over these last few days. So thank you, Jeremy, for finally pushing me over the edge. I've been kind of shying in the shadows for a lot of years, watching all of you guys and enjoying all the stuff you do.
Yeah, you bet. But it's so funny because I noticed that you were not available on Instagram there, and then you came into the studio about 5 minutes before we went live here. You've been watching the back for 20 minutes. And I said to you, because your account was still down on Instagram. Yeah. And then like a minute before we went live, you're like, I'm back. I'm like, oh, phew, because you want to be around, you want to be live on Instagram for this live stream, because people in the chat are probably on their phones and are going to go follow you right now. After the show, you're going to have to go check out who followed you. You'll follow them back, but maybe just do one
at a time. One at a time. Yeah. No, I love this chat. Like I said, I genuinely watch your show every week. Not live because I'm usually in bed by now, but I definitely was really bummed out to have possibly been invisible for the entire time I was going to be with you. But I'm there. I got my cute little 8 posts or whatever it is.
That's plenty, and you've done a great job of actually telling the story about the cards. Whether it is how long you've had it, where you got it, how you got it, what you like about it. That's what people want to read. It. You can just put up a picture of a card, and it's just kind of boring. But by telling the story, I think that's what really, it resonates with people. It's compelling, and yeah, you've done a great job so far. So kudos to you guys again. Check him out on Instagram. Give him a follow. His account has been reinstated. How long was it down for? Just a few hours today?
It was like an hour. No, it was literally an hour, because you were kind enough to tell me that the etiquette would be when people follow you, you follow them back. And I was like, oh, okay. Click.
I didn't want to say that out loud, but yeah, like, and hey, you're new to it and you're there, and it's great, and you'll enjoy following a bunch of the people who followed you as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do a few more comments before we get into more things. Chris C, awesome paintings. Thank you. Sammy Hill, when completing the hobby spectrum assessment, be sure to fill in the entire circle on the Scranton sheet for each answer. That must be an office reference to The Office, which I've seen every episode like 10 times and I don't remember, but thank you. You're welcome, Carl from Oz. Orlando is welcoming you to the community, Jonathan. Linda's first says, hello, Jonathan. Great to have another hobbyist. Absolutely. Chris from Missouri, welcome to the show, Chris. And Chris from Missouri, I don't know how to get a hold of you, really. So let me know how to get a hold of you. Laura, welcome. Everyone's welcoming you. Laura's welcoming you. Chris is welcoming you. The battery says Jonathan deserves extra credit for a healthy, thriving houseplant. It's like, that's great. What was it? Mark Hill was on last week, and someone made a comment that the paint samples on his wall would not really make sense. I like when people are noticing the surroundings. That's great, you guys. Definitely. You're up to over 100 viewers on this show already. Thank you, Carl. Orlando scored a 23 on the spectrum. Ron Fig, 21. Linda's first, 13. A purist. Luke Browning, I think the hybrid 51 nailed what I expected today. Had I taken this 20 years ago, I would have been much lower in number. You very well would have been. And you can take it again every 30 days. Chris C, I scored a 12, but I can retake it soon. I don't want Brady's number. You can definitely do that. Foul ball is a 5, among the lowest of all scores. Hobby Hoops Hangout is a 9. Rob Star just followed you. Jonathan says, beautiful green Ruth.
Thank you.
I saw that too. And I thought, man, I already got my new friend, and I got to start bugging him because I want to buy one of his cards. Like, I won't come at you for that. But what a card that is! Absolutely gorgeous. Definitely. I think you're a 6, Foul Ball. I think you're a 6 actually. And look, Jacob Dahl welcoming you to the community. Hodges is here, gave the video a like. Thank you very much. E105 says, good evening. Just followed you, Jonathan. A 52 mantle and a 33 Gaudy in your first week of posts. Wow. And we're going to talk about that 52 mantle because that's it's a major card for you, not just because it's a major card, but psychologically it's a major card for you as well. And Chris C just followed you on Instagram as well. So, before we get into your cards, your collecting history, you have been watching the content from the sidelines for a while. Here you are now on the show. And listen, like, does it feel at all like your hobby experience might change starting now? Because you've seen the community flourish. Because you watch this channel and several others, you've seen how relationships form, how people refer to each other as their friends, their buddies, their pals. What are you kind of hoping for joining the hobby community online a little bit more? And what's it like to finally do it?
Well, I mean, I don't even really know what to hope for, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, it's been tons of fun for however many, 5-6 years, watching all the shows, listening to, and yes, I mean, Greg Miller never stops saying how it's more about the friends than the cards, even though he loves his cards. And like, it's great to live vicariously through enjoying all of that stuff. So I don't imagine that I'm suddenly going to be, welcomed into the club, but the fact that you invited me on here, I was like, okay, you can tell I'm not a super shy person, but for whatever reason, I just felt like I didn't know how to even begin to dip my toe in and see if I might be welcomed in here or there. So I don't have any idea what to expect. And even if it's just tonight, I love it. I'm really happy to be here. It's fun to get to talk about cards. I'll be honest with you, and my family, I'm sure, will watch this later. But like, my wife thinks the Jackie Robinson cards are cool. My daughter does too. But like, my family doesn't care about my card collection. I don't have, friends in my regular life who care about cards the way I do. So I'm kind of on my own, talking to myself at opening up my safe and looking at my like Bowman rookies and stuff. And so it would be amazing even just to post the things on Instagram and have a few people think it's fun to hear the little stories.
Well, they'll think it's fun to hear the stories. And the term you're maybe looking for is like engagement, right? Because people will leave comments, you go back, you write back, you say thank you, or you add to the story, that's where that's one of the places where the relationships are formed, in the comments of your posts. And then you follow other people back, you see what their cards, you leave comments if you want, right? I mean, obviously you want to be authentic and honest in your opinions and how you feel about these things, but I think we should also be right now almost using you as an example for other people out there who may be listening to this right now while we're watching live, listening later down the road, other people who are, well, I guess you have to be listening or watching this episode right now to hear us. Otherwise, it's not going to apply if you don't listen or watch Sports Cards Live. But like, if you are, and you are not in the hobby community yet, but you just lurk sort of thing, like you were for a while, Jonathan. I think we should be encouraging people to come out. Like you said, you don't have a lot of, or really any hobby connections in your regular friend groups. So the hobby is so much more fun when you do have those friends, as I think you're about to find out, and not about, I mean, over the next several months and years, really going to shows, saying hi to people who you recognize from their channels. And just like, all of us want to meet you guys, like you guys, by you guys, I mean, people that we haven't met yet that are hobbyists who love this stuff. If you're a real hobbyist and you love this stuff, I think you just want to meet more and more people who do love this stuff. So, but how did, because you said, thanks for inviting me on the channel. I think people might be interested to know how you came to be on the channel. Why don't I let you tell that story?
Yeah, I mean, short story, but I really enjoy watching you and Adam do those premiere Fanatics Collect shows. And as geeky as I am about all the cards, like I don't collect the basketball cards. I don't collect a lot of the modern stuff, but I still am fascinated by learning about it and appreciating it. And so the way what kind of triggered me to email you was just the way you love to break down in particular certain cards, the 79 Gretzky, a 49 Leaf Jackie, that I sent you an email to just say, hey, would you give me, like, it was basically like, would you roast me too? Would you break down my 49 Jackie? And so I sent you a picture of it. And then you were kind enough to just invite me to chat earlier last week.
Yeah, it took a while. It took almost about 6 weeks really from those first emails until we actually met in here in a meeting room, not a live stream or even a record, just a private meeting to talk about your Jackie, and got to know each other a bit. And so, guys, while I was chatting with Jonathan and I was just asking him about his hobby history, the wheel started spinning in my head, and I was like, you'd be a great person to have on the channel, because I think people are always sort of surprised to learn that there's yet another person out there who they don't know about yet, that really none of the people in the current, hobby content world are aware of. And I thought it would be great to have you on and just talk about your story. So let's hear a bit about that story. Like, when did you start collecting?
Yeah, I'm a lifetime collector since I was 6. I think I put on one of my first posts. My first memory is opening a 1983 Fleer pack in the back of my mom's car, and I kind of have collected ever since. I was drowning in 1987 tops, and one of the things that kind of carried me through college was occasionally like coming back for a weekend and opening a pack or two of like a 1996 score or whatever garbage they were producing in baseball cards back then. But after I got out of college, way before children, when I started to make enough money that I had a little disposable income, and eBay, I was on eBay starting in 1999. All I wanted to do was try to find some of those cards that I could have never dreamed of owning as a 12-year-old, and basically anything before 1975. So the world was like in 2002, 2003. If I spent a couple $100, I had a pretty awesome card or two. And those are the cards that, well, I know you'll lead us into getting to this, but those cards are now, some of them a couple $1,000. So like the fact that I got them for $100 is like amazing. It's wonderful, but it also kind of ruins me a little bit for being comfortable paying what a comparable card might be in 2026.
That's one of the topics too I wanted to talk about, was the psychological price ceiling. So you acquired your 52 Topps Mickey Mantle about 20 years ago, I think is what you said.
It was like 15. Sorry, I'm looking on my sheet. 2012. So 14 years ago.
2012. Okay, 2012, 14 years ago, you bought a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle, which you have with you right now, correct?
I do.
Guys, I asked him to bring card. Hold on.
Oh, no. Sorry. I thought you were asking me to hold it up.
No, it's okay. Yeah, let's see the mantle. Let's see. Okay. Show the mantle. Show them. The people want to see it. Show the mantle.
I ruined your reveal. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So here, I'm gonna spotlight you. Yeah.
Get out of the glare.
Yeah, get used to the orientation there.
I'm new to this. I know how to try it. I'm supposed to try to get the glare out.
Look at that card, you guys. Go, put it back up. Put it back up, Jonathan. Keep holding it. Look at that card, guys. He bought this in 2014, and it's a SGC 1.5, but it looks super clean to me, Jonathan. Super clean. Like,
there's wrinkles along here that if you were holding it, you'd see. But yeah, that's the thing, is like you hold it 1.5 feet from your face. It was a BVG 2.5 when I got it, and it took me 10 years to be like, I gotta get it out of the BVG case. So, but yeah, it's a low grade, but I mean, very pretty to me for the low grade.
Oh, it's a beautiful card, guys. You can see it closer up on his Instagram channel. I think it was your first post, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very first post. So yeah, he's got a killer collection. Super nice guys, as you guys can tell. So you bought it in 2014. We don't have to get into like what you paid unless you want to share that, but it's that amount that you paid
that is now this psychological barrier for you? Talk about that. What's going on in your head?
Yeah, that is exactly it. I mean, I'm comfortable sharing if you want to know, like how much.
Yeah, why not?
I paid like $5,500 for it. So by far but at that point, it was 2012, the most I'd spent on a card by a lot. And it was really scary to spend that much. And obviously just saying that right now is hilarious because it's, I don't know, whatever it is, 8 times that, but that being that. So now I'm like, I have my most valuable card and I paid $5,500 for it. So how can I buy something? How can I buy a Lou Gehrig that was $750 then for $7,500 now when I only paid? So my brain is all tied up in knots over this. And actually, can I show one other card that's just from? Well, it's just from one of the fun things that I'm doing. I'm trying to do the Mike Payne's top 100 cards in the 1980s. And the hang up for me there is 1984 Fleer Update Kirby. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to do them all autographed. Is the 1984 Fleer Update Kirby Puckett. An autographed Puckett is $12,000 at the minimum. There's like 18 of them. And I think he passed away in 2006. So there ain't going to be no more. But what I found on eBay was somebody this was before the whole thing. People were weirded out about the 86 Jordan. Somebody put stickers on, but somebody was selling this with a sticker for, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, $500-$600. And I was like, nah, that doesn't count. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm just going to get it. And maybe I'll have partial credit because I can't buy a $12,000 Kirby Puckett autograph. So it messes me up all over the place right now. And until I get over that hump.
Fair. So the comment about the Lou Gehrig, right? You could have with $750 back. I mean, the Lou Gehrig cards have gone up like crazy over the past couple of years. I mean, lots of stuff has, obviously. So what are you doing now? Because you're still in the hobby, you're still adding cards to your collection. You want to add cards to the collection. As far as card shows go, you mentioned to me you go to the Shriners show out east.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the National? Have you ever been to the East Coast National? Or just the Shriners show?
I haven't been to any of the other big ones. And the Shriners show, other than having actually bumped into Mike Junkwax Hero once just by accident, is just a browsing exercise for me for the most part. A couple of the bigger auction houses will sometimes have displays of like their upcoming stuff. And so I get to go see, $400,000 cards or whatever. And and I buy some top loaders and I leave. So I haven't been doing a ton. I finished a couple. I have a couple of player runs that I really like. I finished Hank Greenberg and Roy Campanella. I could buy a low grade Roy Campanella 52 tops, which was the one I was missing because it was, I don't know, $1,500. I was okay. I could do that. Yeah. But I want to add some cards. I've got a bad feeling, especially if I'm like welcomed into this community at all, that like once I get over the hump of this, it's going to be very, very dangerous.
The hump,
but I haven't yet.
The hump of spending
over $5,500 on any card, and then it'll be all over.
I wonder if anyone else kind of operates that way in the chat, because I feel your pain when it comes to that. And I've thought the same way. Like, I missed out on certain cards as recently as 2 years ago, never mind, 7, 12, 15, 20 years ago. And it's like, man, I missed the boat. I could have had like a 52 tops mantle. I remember I could have had a beautiful, I don't know, PSA 2 or a 3 for like $15,000. And now that's going to cost you $80,000. Am I just out of the Mickey Mantle 52 tops mantle game now? I mean, maybe, probably, time will tell. But I hear you. However, I haven't stopped paying today's prices for cards. And I don't buy big cards all the time. At the National, I scratched several off my want list, and I had to pay a lot more than I would have paid before. So it's like E105 says, don't we all wish we bought iconic cards for 1/6 of the price they sell for now? And what I think of, Jonathan, is the cards that you could be buying today at today's prices, they might be 6x today, in 20 years, they could be 6x what they are today. I don't know for sure. I mean, it almost sounds crazy to think that they could go up 6 times in the next 20 years, but they might. I suppose they might. We just don't know. Do you ever kind of think that way and think to yourself, as you're maybe trying to talk yourself into upping your expenditure level? Not like you have to, every card has to be over $5,000, but do you ever kind of think to yourself, you know what, if I don't buy it now, I might not ever have the chance? Or are you just kind of like, I just can't do it?
No, yes, I don't think, it's not like I think cards are overpriced. I guess I realized they must have been pretty well undervalued for a long time. And then certain things explode. Like I have a couple of 1914 Cracker Jacks. Nobody cared about those until 5 years ago. And now they're like to the moon. I just feel like I need to accept that things are what they are now in a way that I keep seeing the price that I could have gotten it for. Like so I will buy a couple of iconic other sports. So like the 86 Jordan rookie, I do have one that I got under the threshold, but I was going to get one for $1,000 in like 2014 or whatever that was. And then there were 10 and I'm like, oh, I keep seeing that old price. And that's my problem.
Absolutely. And there's some people talk, like I see here, BWS says, I'm a low roller, alert the media. Chrissy, I'm just a regular roller. Also, Anthony says, COVID changed the equation forever. I think that's very true. Let's Go MJ talks about inflation as well. Yes, definitely. These things all have an impact. But what about cards that are under that $5,000 level that have gone up? Like you mentioned the Campanellas. You could find Mutuals and Spawns and Williams. Well, maybe not Williams, but a lot of these other players who are great and fun to collect. Pee Wee Reese, one of my favorites to collect. Cards that might have been $100 15 years ago, maybe are now $800, $900, $1,000. They're still beautiful. That might still be affordable for you. Are you able to, step up on cards like that?
Yeah. So we're making me sound like a bigger deal than I am. We're talking about the higher end stuff of what I bought or have now. But yeah, I bought a lot of my Willie Mays run during COVID, and they had like they're probably even less than I bought them for. But they had like tripled, and I wanted them anyway. So I went for them. I get that I'm going to be paying stuff. And actually one of the topics that was in the back of my head was that you talked a lot about last week is second year cards. And I'm as much as I love Hall of Fame rookie cards, and that's kind of like where I focus the most of that energy. Like I also really love going for those second year cards. So that's actually something I've been picking up over the last few months is like, a 59 Roger Maris or a 1960 Bob Gibson. And those cards are super cheap and beautiful and meaningful. So the 64 Pete Rose I've had for a lot of years, I think is more beautiful than my 63. So yes, I'm not afraid to pay today's prices for the things that are that don't beat the mantle.
1960 Bob Gibson. I've never owned his rookie card. It's one I've always had my eye on. It's just things. The stars have never aligned for me on that particular card. And now that I'm so much more open to non-rookie cards, having player representation in my PC, maybe a 1960 Gibson is the direction that I may go. We'll have to see. I've never considered it for him, but who knows? Maybe I'll consider that. Let's see a couple more cards you have beside you, just to show everybody a few more cards out of your PC.
Yeah, I don't know what you, but I just mentioned the roses, so I've got an SGC 5 rose. That again, so a bunch of these SGC 5s, and you're hearing me say or SGC cards that you're hearing me say I got a bunch of years ago, and they're in the new slabs. They were in BVG holders before. So here's the 64. I don't remember offhand exactly how long ago I got it, but old slab. These are all going to be old slabs. I got this one reholdered, I guess. One of the cards in honor of Greg Miller, I was going to bring my Ernie Banks 4-5, just because this guy, I only learned actually through you guys and through all these shows. I learned so much about these cards that I didn't know. I didn't realize how uncommon well-centered Ernie Banks rookie was, and then I was like, hey, look at mine. It's like it's like one of the only ones that I've seen around that has any space on the top. So, and then I was saying to you when we were talking on Monday that yes, I feel very grateful. Some of these cards are beautiful, but some of them I just bought back 15 years ago before I knew. It was just like, hey, this is the right price for a 3, and they're not as pretty. So I have a 52 Jackie.
Oh, hold on.
It's in a 3. It would not get a 3 today. I'm very well aware. Sorry, I'm not getting the glare out. But the color, if you can't see well, I mean, there's a lot of snow in that red. And
Sort of
anytime you guys, other people, sorry,
do that thing I told you, like hold the card and yeah, like if you hold it just right in front of your face, sort of thing, and then just put it right in front of your face, so it's in the middle of the screen, in front of your face, like even cover your face. Yeah, and then just sort of go. There you go, right there. Look at that. Hold on, let me hold it. Hold it.
Sorry,
hold it.
Yes,
there you go,
like
guys.
I said, I'm learning. So there you can see there's a lot of snow, and anytime somebody shows one of these that has the just bright red, I'm like, damn, this one doesn't have that. But you also kind of alluded to it before. At this point, I've owned these. People talk about upgrading their cards. I've owned these for so long that I've looked at them 500 times. They're just mine. Like I can't even dream of getting rid of them. So some are gorgeous, some are ugly. Many of them are overgraded. I've had this thought. I'm like, I should regrade some of these and just get the lower grades so that at least I can feel like they're graded current modern standards. Because I feel so guilty having this. I have a Ty Cobb in a 3 that is like, I don't know, 1.5 at best, So it's a mixed bag like that.
Yeah. You said at the beginning there that, like, they're your cards. They're maybe not beautiful, but they're beautiful to you. You've had them for a while. It's like what I was saying earlier before you came on about my Jackie Robinson. It's like, it's probably overgraded as, in line with today's standards, but it's mine and I love it. And I don't necessarily want to, upgrade it by downgrading, which I think is a legitimate approach that you could do right now. Put money in your pocket, get a nicer card that's in a lower grade holder. But I don't want to do that. You're kind of feeling the same way? You have a kind of an emotional connection to those specific copies?
Yeah. Because at this point, it's like nothing I have. Like I am obsessed with Chris Hoge and his 1-of-1 collection, and a lot of the vintage guys who have such like amazing rarity. Nothing I have is rare like that. But the combination of everything that I've put together is that's just my collection. So these are my copies. I feel like I've heard you say that over time. Like these are my copies.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even really think about I'll sell cards if I don't feel like they mean much to me anymore. But I don't think I could think about upgrading the condition of any of these that I've had since 2010 or something like that.
Yeah, I really try not to upgrade either. I don't know that I've upgraded a couple cards in the past, and then I did with my 1953 Parker's Jean Beliveau. I bought a raw copy at the Toronto Expo in probably 1999 or 2000. Had it graded myself in 2008 by PSA. It came back a 5. Beautiful card. I bought a 7. I forget where I got it, but I bought a PSA 7 along the way. I bought a copy in a PSA 7 holder along the way later, and I couldn't get away from the 5 from my original copy. It's like, because I had them both thinking, I'll sell my 5 and keep this one that's in a 7. It had a much more vibrantly white border, sharper edges, sharper corners. Centering was, what you'd expect. Nothing special, but a 7 easily. And when it came time to make the decision, I decided I'm going to sell the 7 and keep the 5. I prefer the 5. It's the one I've had for 20 years. It's more natural looking to me than a vibrant 7 with like very white borders. Like, I was like, I don't want that one anymore. I want the 5. It's just like, the grade is becoming so secondary. What's after if you have primary, secondary, what's the right way to say the third
tertiary?
One?
Is it really tertiary?
Is it tertiary? Is there tertiary?
That's the word. That's third place. Yeah.
Tertiary or tertiary?
No, tertiary.
Tertiary. Okay. Maybe it's even becoming tertiary for me.
Yeah.
The technical grade on the slab. But I think there's something to be said for that. Like, especially when you can keep more money in your pocket to go buy more cards, which for someone like you would help you put that money away towards buying a card you really want that might exceed your $5,500 mental threshold. Have you actually like put almost like a policy for yourself on your collecting habits that says I will not spend more than that, or you will if the right opportunity comes along?
Well, no. So this is where I've been, and I'm hoping, there's a big part of me that's hoping you and anybody else that can like nudge me along are going to help me change that. Where I got to at some point was, instead of being just proud of my collection, I was feeling proud of the fact that I had cards that were worth well over this amount, but I'd never spent that on them. I just got them early enough and held on to them and loved them, and they're worth more. So I kind of, it became a little bit of a part of the identity. My identity in my collecting was, I haven't ever spent over this amount. I've kind of wanted to release myself of that rule, and that, so I haven't spent more. I see all these amazing cards when you guys do these shows, and I'm like, it's not like I could buy them all, but I could certainly pick one and buy it and love it to pieces. I just have to shatter that rule.
You just got to make it happen, and it's got to be the right card at the right time and all those things.
Oh, right? Yeah, that'll be a big moment for me though if this does ever happen.
What's the number one?
It's been a long time. Sorry,
what's the number one card, or you don't have to what are a couple of the top cards on your want list right now that you would like to add to your collection in the next, I don't know, whatever year in 2026?
I want a 41 play ball DiMaggio because I've got 39 and 40 of the Ted Williams and the DiMaggio, and I have a 41 Ted Williams. So that trio, the pairing of the 39s and the 40s and the 41s, just, I don't know, maybe I'd put it in a frame or something. It just feels so beautiful of those two guys. So I got 5 of the 6 of those. So I've wanted one of those, and they're not cheap. To get a decent looking one, I have one of the 33 Gehrigs. I've always wanted a 34 Gehrig, and I missed the boat. I didn't buy it when it was $800. So I want one of those that a good one might run me over the $5,500. But those are kind of the two, most active thoughts for me are those two cards.
Nice. Well, as you may have heard from watching this show, I grabbed myself a 41 play ball DiMaggio at the National last year. I did that was that. Number one on my want list last year, and number 2 was a Gehrig, the 33 Gehrig. I got that at the same show, and then I haven't picked up any significant cards since then. So the National, maybe Strongsville show here in April, maybe I'll be able to pick up something else for myself. But it's also kind of nice picking up these kinds of cards in person. Yeah, when if you want, so we got to get you to would you come to the National in Chicago later this year? Is that something that might be possible for you?
I don't know if it would be possible. I love the idea of it. I'm not sure I'm built for 8 hours of a card show multiple days in a row.
I think you can handle it
experientially, but I'm not certain about scheduling wise, but it's definitely something I really want to see. But like I was saying to you, this isn't like a woe is me story, but if I went to last year's National by myself and walked around, so it would be awesome and it would be sad all at once.
Well, the nice thing about the National and other shows nowadays, like Strongsville and really I think many shows, if not most, is that there are social events going on, and you'll make contacts, you'll make some friends, and someone will just say, hey, let's go for lunch, come join us at wherever for dinner later, and then like that's just how it starts for everybody. So I highly encourage it. Of course, here a couple of comments. Chris C, wow, that mantle, right? Yeah. Nick Chen, I'm new as of Christmas with my first video on YouTube, I think. And I have met so many great people already. Beware, after following everyone else, you will be overwhelmed by all the videos. You can't watch them all. That's true. But you've been watching several already, so you kind of know a bunch of what you like. But as you as you become more part of the community, you will find more videos you like, and you'll have to, hey, there's only so many hours in the day. Let's go. MJ says, Jonathan is a mensch. Very nice. Brad's vintage. Just did the Spectrum, and I'm 14, which is a purist. Yeah, it is a pure. That's the high. I think that's the highest end of being a purist. I think nostalgic starts at 15, Brad. So you're very close to nostalgic. Mr. Mano says that's what makes the card community great. When your family and friends are not interested, the hobby community is there. Absolutely. I say it all the time, and I'll just say it again because it's worth repeating. Is as you get older, it does become harder to make friends in your normal life activities. You in school, in college, those first early jobs when you're in your 20s it's very easy to build a social circle and make friends. I shouldn't say it's very easy. I know for some people it isn't, but it's easier then than it is when you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s and so on and so forth. The hobby is a great pipeline for that if you are willing to put yourself out there like you are now and moving forward. So agree with the comment from Mr. Mano. Sports Card Reverie says, I'm like Jonathan, been lurking in silence for years. Well, I'll say to Sports Card Reverie and anyone else listening, just like Jonathan did, shoot me an email. And I'll meet with you in, I'm starting to wonder if I should just make this invitation, but I'm willing to do, like, especially if I recognize you from the chat, shoot an email and we can have a private meeting, just get to know each other. Like Jonathan and I did. We were probably in here for just over an hour on Monday, right? And we had I completely enjoyed the conversation. And, if it makes sense to have you on, we can do that. Like, let's build the community. It's just so much more fun that way. Laura shouts out the score of the football game and says, Joe is not going to be happy. And I saw comments in the chat that, some people are watching a few minutes behind. So I won't say any scores there tonight, at least. Let's go. MJ says, none of my legacy friends care about cards also. Yeah, that's a real thing, right, Jonathan? Yeah. Luke Browning, you are welcome to the club, he says to you, Jonathan. Chris, Jonathan, you have quite a collection. What was your first vintage card you went after?
That's a good question. I was thinking about trying to remember any of these things coming into talking with you tonight. My first memory, I'm picturing myself in my senior college dorm room buying a 1957 Mickey Mantle.
Ooh.
That's the one I remember buying. But the first one I ever got, I got this totally crumpled up. I should have brought it. This totally crumpled up 1958 Topps mantle in like 1988 when there was a little kids like trade thing that they did every week. And the dealer was just giving it away for $2. And I got it and I kept it in, a screw down for 30 years. I've actually finally graded it with SGC for the one. And got the crumpled one that it got. So that probably counts as my very first I got, but the first one I really went after was a nice little, I think it was a 3-grade 57.
57 mantle.
Yeah. Still have it. I still have it. Whatever, 27 years later. That's
the one with the supposed ghost on it, is that right?
Yes. That's the ghost.
I like the 57s. The battery says, did Jonathan ever pay for an eBay purchase with a personal check? That's how far back I go back. Did you ever do that as well?
Oh, yes. That's in, I think, one of my posts. I made that joke. I'm sure I sent the guy a check for whatever card was in that post.
Nice. Good. Bob Boozle says, I stared at that mantle too long. The power blinds me. Very nice. Brad's vintage, gorgeous mantle, breathtaking color and registration. Bob Boozle said, my wife was 120 pounds when we got married. I keep that number in my head. Bob Boozle's, he's full of the jokes. Chris says, it's all relative. I would have felt the same exact. I'm not sure. Sorry, don't know what that's about. Sorry, let's go. MJ says, nothing like spending 6 figures on a piece of cardboard of men, but I love it. Chris C says, glad I got my Koufax rookie in 2017. Absolutely. Jim Scholl, wish I'd bought silver and gold sooner too. Yes, Trees and Cardboard says it's a slippery slope, Jonathan. Smiley face. It sure can be. It sure can be. The battery says, what's the oldest card in Jonathan's collection?
I got one 1887. I forget what set it is. Funny enough was my 14-year-old daughter asked me what my oldest card was recently. I'm looking in my text to see if I can pull up the picture of it. Yeah, I got one 1887 Old Judge. Doggy Miller. whoever Doggy Miller is. Just because I wanted one 19th century card. I was doing my little type collecting, not quite flight collecting, where I wanted to at least pick up like kind of one of each of the things that I could hunt down.
Yeah, very cool. Tropic Collects, what's up? Welcome. Mike Double V, welcome to the show. Shaheen says, collections are just your hobby story. Took me many years to find my footing. That's true, right? That's something that I think newcomers to the hobby, not guys like Jonathan who knows what he likes, has been collecting his whole life, but if you're newer to the hobby, it can take a while to really figure out what you like. You can buy cards, think you're going to love them, hold them for a while, and then be like, oh, you know what? That's just not right. And I think that's okay. Feel free to let them go. Take that card capital, put it into cards that you are going to enjoy more. So good comment there from Shaheen. Stuke says, I will unintentionally upgrade, buy a collection and compare any duplicates to what's in my set, throw the lesser condition duplicates in my show inventory. Yeah, that's a good point. I will do that with patch cards, not necessarily with vintage cards, because again, I get attached to my copy, whether a nicer one comes along or not. But for like on the modern side of things, for patches, or even like, I don't do this, but I could see myself potentially for an autograph. If an autograph is weak and a better copy comes along, and I didn't like just go target it, but it was in a collection I picked up, I'd probably swap it out as well. Orlando says, I sold some of my PSA 8 cards to downgrade and get other cards I really wanted. Yeah, that's very tempting to do that, especially when you know the card that you're letting go is likely not going to grade the same today. So it's like it's sort of an imposter, just because standards have evolved over time with the grading companies, and it's unfortunate. The other thing is that maybe there's some PSA guarantees to be had out there because your card no longer qualifies for the grade today. So maybe PSA just wants to pay you out, but I don't know. I don't know what the right strategy, if any, is for that. Rage is in the house, everybody. Please welcome Rage to the building. Just a quick little announcement there for Rage. Let's Go MJ says, best thing about the Nationals watching Adam and Jeremy do a podcast. Yeah, we did. We did one this last time in that fishbowl there. Let's Go MJ. Thanks for shouting that out. Bob Boozle says, I watch 8 hours of Jeremy Lee content per week. He was mentioning that, Jonathan, because you say, you don't know how you'd spend 8 hours at a card show 4 days in a row. The nice thing is that you don't have to spend it all, right? You can come and go back to the hotel, go for a swim, go for a run, hit the gym, go get lunch, come back. That's the beautiful part about it. One of the beauties. Orlando here says, I went to Atlantic City National alone, came back with tons of friends. Yeah, but I mean, Orlando has an advantage. He's Orlando, yeah. He's Orlando.
Orlando.
Right? Yeah, everybody wants to be his friend, so. And Jim Scholl, nice shout out for me, says, Jay Lee is a master craftsman at connecting the dots for this community. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that very nice comment from Jim Scholl. Okay, let me see what else we got here. We've done some show and tell, talked about that. I noticed Joe Perot came into the studio. There he is. Before we bring Joe on, though, Jonathan, and we're stick around for a bit. I guess, is the football game over? Is that why Joe is here now, or is he throwing in the towel on the game? The game, it's over. It's not over, but it's over.
It's over in another sense.
I just looked on my phone. Before even Joe comes on, I just want to say to all of my 49er fan friends, people listening, watching, I'm sorry that they're not going to win tonight. But congratulations to the Seahawks fans and friends out there as well. Just obviously happy for you guys, but sad for my friend Joe and Greg and McGill and all the guys in California who were hoping for the San Francisco 49ers. So, Jonathan, why don't we bring Joe on and we'll add him to the conversation? You're good to stick around for a bit still?
Sure. Yeah.
I know it's past your bedtime, but
no, it's way past my bedtime.
We're going to keep you up as long as we can.
This is so much fun, though, so thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, are you ready to join us? All right. Here comes Joe, everybody. Joe, how are you, buddy? How are you? Have a minute. Have a minute.
I'm well. It was a rough game tonight, but hello, Jonathan. It's been good to listen to you. I feel like you already know everyone. So it's cool to have you in the community. and enjoyed looking at your cards. I've been disassociating from the game for about a quarter now because it was in the proverbial way of saying an arse whipping. So
I'm happy to help distract you even just a little.
yeah, I did have one quick question. If I could throw a question in, Jay Lee.
Absolutely.
And how are you tonight, Jay Lee? I'm sorry, I should have asked you back.
Don't worry about me. I appreciate it, Joe. I'm good. I don't know if you heard at the beginning. I took my little guy to his first hockey game today.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
It was a nice time.
That's great. AI can do some beautiful things, right?
It's actually pretty crazy how it made me the tickets and the poster too, which was just a single page. But yeah, absolutely crazy. Yeah.
So Jonathan, I started, like when I was getting into graded slabs, most of my slabs were in Beckett vintage, BVG slabs. And it sounded like your mantle was originally in a BVG slab. And I was just curious about how you went about transitioning it, because obviously that's a big card, and I would be a little reluctant to put it in the mail. Did you do it in person, or how did you accomplish that transition into an SGC, which looks great, by the way? It looks beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a good question, because I found, as everybody might imagine, I found a lot of value buying a number of these cards in BVG slabs, which just never was even back then, it wasn't quite as popular price-wise. What I was able to do was I reached out, forgive me, I can't remember if it might have been 2022, to reach out to SGC directly, and they were kind enough to say they would give me favorable pricing on crossing some things over. And they were going to be, I'm just outside of Boston, and they were going to be at Fenway Park, had a card show. I don't know if they're even doing it anymore, but for a couple of years they did card shows at Fenway Park, and they were going to be there. So I brought, I put the handcuffs to my wrist and brought my case of cards down to Fenway Park and handed them off in person. So, and they did ship them back to me, which of course, yes, that's scary as heck, but I didn't put them in the mail. I never was going to put them in the mail. That's why when that worked out, it was a good plan.
Awesome. And did you anticipate, I mean, you sound pretty sober to some of the discrepancies with the older grading policies and slabs. Was that about what you expected? A downgrade of roughly, what was it, a 2.5 to a 1.5?
It was 2.5. Yeah, I was hoping for a 2. I mean, you guys saw it. It's not. I mean, it has wrinkles that you can't see over YouTube, but it's a nice looking card. I was hoping for a 2, but I put it in at a minimum crossover of 1.5. I didn't want a 1. Out of the 2.5, I would have been a little too bummed to get a 1, but. As thankfully, what's funny is the world in the last 3 years, you guys are all a big part of it. It almost doesn't matter, because if the card looks like what the card looks like, and the prices are evolving that way.
I mean, I agree. And I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter the downgrade, but I would say, actually, I think it's a more secure asset in a more recently graded version, because, sometimes BVG cards, I have detected through the years, like an occasional trimmed one, they catch a lot, just like PSA misses some, BVG missed some. So, but getting it in a contemporary SGC holder, I think was a good move, regardless of the downgrade. And the reason I ask is I have 2 Gaudi Ruths in BVG slabs that I kind of wanted to cross over, but then the SGC thing happened, and I'm wondering, wow, should I do it now? Should I, hold out for PSA? So anyway, going down a rabbit hole here, Jay Lee. Sorry to bum rush the show, but interesting stuff, because I think this is what a lot of the old heads who have older slabs have to consider, is well, what's the new 2.0, 3.0 version of my collection that's going to put it in a position where I feel safe about it. It's reasonably liquid if something were to happen, and I feel more, I don't know, kind of up to date with what people are, interested in, or what people, I don't want to say value, but maybe respect in terms of the slab and presentation.
That was actually really what I was feeling. Is you used a lot of the terms that would have popped into my head was people respecting it, being up to date, feeling like it's kind of a more safe asset. My Leaf Jackie is one also. It was a 5.5. It was a Beckett 5.5, and it's an SGC4. And it was a bit of a downgrade. It's a gorgeous card. I'm thrilled to own it, but I feel much safer having it in that holder.
You should probably show us that Jackie
All
again.
right.
I don't think we saw it already. We'll spotlight you for that.
And now, of course, that's beautiful. Oh, look at that. Nice.
Gorgeous. Yeah. That's the card that we met on, actually, right?
Is what I frankly, I didn't even know, other than the one little dot you can see by his hat. Like, I wasn't even sure back and forth, why it was a 5.5. Like, I bought that. That's one. I think that's the one I posted. I bought raw in 2002, 2003. Let me see. And bought it raw off of eBay and sent it into Beckett to get graded myself. And it's gorgeous. So I love it.
Beautiful card. Absolutely.
Jenny, you have a Jackie in an SGC, don't you?
No, it's a PSA. It's in a PSA 6.
You have a big card in an SGC though.
I have it's the 33 Gaudi Ruth number 53. The yellow background
That's what it is. And that's a 5.
Yeah, SGC. Yeah.
That's a beautiful card. Would you ever think about transitioning that?
I mean, I obviously I've thought about it, but it's like the card's the card. The card's the card. I don't know, why risk PSA saying anything about it that I don't like? Who knows? Maybe they say it's not authentic. Maybe they say it's trimmed. Maybe they say it's too small for the holder. Maybe they say it's a 3. Maybe they say it's a. You just never know. So I don't know. I mean, I'm happy with it as it is.
It's beautiful, and I think. By the way, everybody, it's a beautiful card, and I think there's no issues with it. It's a solid 5.
Yeah, I've had it for a while. Love it. Absolutely love it. No need to. Listen, I don't love the SGC slab at all, but I have a few, and so I'm okay with having a few. Absolutely. Yeah. So I don't think I don't have any BVG cards though. I have in the past, but I don't own anything in a BVG holder. Jonathan, do you have any more BVGs, or did you swap out anything you did? I
still got a couple left. I migrated like 25 of them to SGC. I got like 20 of them to PSA, and I think I still got a few that I had sent in one of those efforts that PSA or probably PSA wasn't going to give the min grade. So I've got a Gaudi, I've got a Ruth. Is it the 181, the full body pose? That's a 2.5, and I mean, it's not a 2.5.
No, not anymore. Hey,
no, yeah. But again, I still love it. I feel very, very fortunate to own.
Let me ask you this, Jonathan. Just like psychologically, we now exist in a hobby where PSA owns both the Beckett brand and the SGC brand. Does that do anything to your brain? Like thinking about does it change anything?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
No, you know what's funny? Because I was thinking about this in particular today with the news that they came out and said, well, we're actually going to be reinvesting in both of those brands. Whether or not they do it, I know people are suspect about. But there was a part of me that was seeing down the road, if they actually do that and kind of bring them into some of the things that PSA that has done, that those brands are actually gonna kind of parallel back to some higher version of respect, I guess I might say, if the marketplace sees them as having all the modern capabilities that PSA has, and yes, of course, the people who think it's a monopoly will think it's a monopoly, but the people who like those other brands might feel better supported with collectors, providing the underpinnings and the technology and stuff. I don't know. That's just a hypothesis, a possibility. I'm a bit of a contrarian to all the doom and gloom there.
That makes sense to me. You too, Joe?
I like it. Great take.
That makes sense. Before we kind of switch topics, I'm going to run through some comments and then we'll get into another just a topic itself. Mookie here said these social media platforms, YouTube and Instagram, are like echolocation devices to help meet like-minded amigos. It's so freaking fun. Hopefully we can add the hobby spectrum to that, not being a new social media platform, but a way to find like-minded people. That's one of the major points of the hobby spectrum. Rated Rabbi, David Spinrad in the house. What's going on, David? Mr. Mano says Joe is in the house. Yes, he is. And David Snyder with a tip said, and thank you very much for the contribution, David Snyder, says, with services giving grading advice, send them the card. Could someone charge real-time FaceTime to look at a card? Oh, I see what you're saying. Kind of like what I did with Jonathan. Have a look at a card and give advice over a video conference call. I don't see why not, David. I mean, and let's ask Jonathan, because he reached out to me really asking me to take a look at his Jackie for him. That's how we met. That's what leads to him being on the show here today. And listen, I'm not going to charge you for that, Jonathan, but you did go asking for it. If I said to you, sure, Jonathan, I'll do that, but it's a $200 fee for a half-hour consultation. I'm just pulling numbers and times out of the sky. Then again, a half hour for 200. Let's just think of the math there that I did say, which I didn't mean, but $200 for 30 minutes, where with the grading companies, you're paying up to $5,000, depends on the card, but let's say, $200 for maybe a minute. So I'm kind of like really cheap with the numbers I throw out there compared. But put the question to Jonathan. If I had said to you, Jonathan, happy to meet with you, but for my time, it's whatever, $100 to meet me for 15 minutes sort of thing. And I'll look at your card and give you my thoughts on it. Like, what would you have thought if I said that? And I'm just curious because Dave Snyder's asking if something like this is real.
Yeah.
And I think there probably is an opportunity out there like that, I think, but are there customers who would pay for it? So let's start with Jonathan.
Well, I guess I would put myself back in those times where I was trying to get cards out of those BVG holders. So like the stuff, Joe, that you were asking about, if I was looking to make a move and like I could have you for 30 minutes and you could look at 15 of these cards with me and tell me you think this one will cross over and here's why, and you think this one won't, that would absolutely be worth the money. If having you share your thoughts on the registration of my Jackie was like a joy for me because I watch you do this, week after week. But I wasn't trying to do anything, but I could absolutely see it if in those times where I was trying to figure out, because it was, it's thousands of dollars to cross over, the best cards in my collection. And you'd want, if you'd had an expert who could help you kind of shrink the sea there, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm sure there is an opportunity for that, Dave Snyder. Great idea. Great comment. David Che says if PSA was at Fenway, to you, Jonathan, would you have crossed it to PSA or did you prefer SGC at the time? The card you went BVG to SGC.
The answer is at first, SGC was the one willing to give me preferential pricing on the crossovers because I couldn't bring myself to spend $1,000 to cross over the Jackie. It's what I paid for the card. So that they were willing to do that at the time was why I was doing it. And of course, I'm a vintage collector. I have deep respect for SGC. Actually, turned out later on, I was able to get PSA to do that for the ones that I couldn't get out of the Beckett holders with SGC. So I did both eventually. But it was really just me kind of scraping and networking and hoping and trying to get somebody to be like, we'll do it. We'll look at it for $50, and if we cross it over, you'll pay the full fee. But we're not going to charge you the full fee for everything. That was how it went.
All right. James says, I can start watching live now that we don't have football on Saturday nights for a while. Well, at least till September, right? So glad to have you back, James. Chris C tells me to keep it as is. He's talking about my Babe Ruth. It's in an SGC holder. I definitely plan to do that. He goes on to say, most of my cards are raw and I have no reason to change that. Grading has zero consistency and high cost for what they offer. Bob Boozle calls out Dave Snyder LLC launching real-time grading soon. maybe I'll be your first employee, Dave Snyder. Let's go, MJ. Who can last 30 minutes? A good comment there. Let's go, MJ. Pretty funny. Bob Boozle says, Bob Boozle LLC, 30-minute grading consultation includes motivational speech, workout routine, and 5 minutes of feet. Just what everybody here wants, Bob Boozle. Good thing right there. Chrissy said, honestly, the main thing I see grading good for is authentication, like an 86 Fleer Michael Jordan. I think that that makes good sense to me. Absolutely. Chris says, I do not like to unnecessarily handle my cards, but I do like the fact that I can, saying, liking raw better than graded. Josh, 90s Auctions, will be joining us in a little bit, says, free the card from its plastic tomb. Brad says, you must be a good negotiator to get PSA to work with you on price on crossovers. And Dave Snyder says, could I send you an email in regards to making the FaceTime concept a reality for some of my cards? We'll compensate accordingly. Send me an email, Dave Snyder, sportscardsliveshow@gmail.com. I'll put it up on the chat. Who knows? We might have just started a new business here tonight. You never know. sportscardsliveshow@gmail.com. Dave Snyder, there you go. And thank you again for the contribution. You've got credit already, Dave Snyder, considering you've been generous with us here for the last little while. So thank you very much for that, Dave. Okay, why don't we switch up the topic now, guys? So I was watching, and to Chris and to McGill, Chris Hoge and Josh Adams, if you're both watching, listening right now, keep this in mind because we'll get your thoughts on it too. But I was watching a video on YouTube. I'm going to share my screen so I can give proper attribution here. I remembered who it was this time. I sometimes don't remember who I hear say what, but I'm going to just pull it up on the screen right now so we can all see right here. High Pop Professor. His name is Brian. His brother is Iconic Al, who's often in the chat here. Both great guys. I met Al several times and Brian at the last National, I believe. Well, he did a video. I think it's, where is it here? This one right here. Same card, ? Selling all PSA 10s. He did this video. It's not long either. It's like 10 and a half minutes. So I would recommend people to go watch it. And he basically, as you can see right there, if you can see in the thumbnail, I know it's very small. He's holding up a 1991 one or two, I forget, Stadium Club Nolan Ryan. And he basically puts a visual up on the screen during the video. And he says, this is a $1 or $2 card, but in the PSA 10 holder, it's $750. And kind of like, what are we doing here? Which brings rise to, I left a comment on his video. And I basically said, the hobby, the saying, it's a house of cards. I'm kind of saying, is it a house of slabs? Not that it has a stronger foundation, because a slab would have is a stronger material than a card itself. But is the hobby a house of slabs right now? It comes back to that whole. Oh, hold on. So where'd they go? Hold on. Where'd they go? What did I do here? There we go. Sorry, guys. there they are. Yeah, like, is the hobby sort of a house of slabs? Is there sort of any sort of like cult-like indicators or behaviors that go on here in the hobby? And I don't know. I mean, I do have my concerns that eventually technical grades will not be will not command the same values that they command today and have been. And we hear people always saying like they're too big to fail. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And I'm not talking about PSA specifically, but it's hard not to think about them. They're 80% of the market. And I'm not saying they're going to fail either, because I think they could do things to avoid that result down the road, or that scenario playing out. I think there's things they could do to avoid that for sure. So that's kind of my question. Are we a house of slabs right now? And are there cult-like behaviors and effects going on out there in the hobby? So I put the questions to the channel, to the chat, to people watching later. Put your comments in the video down below as well. But why don't we just get thoughts from you two while you're on here? Joe, you're back up top this time. I don't know how that happened. But why don't you kind of go first? What do you think? House of slabs, house of cards, house of slabs, cult-like behaviors? Any thoughts on that topic?
I think we're sobering up from cult-like behavior. I think we're in the process of transitioning out of being slaves to that. And this is a really interesting topic. I think it's hard to generalize. I think there are pockets of, modern / ultra modern cards where a 10 is meaningful to me, but 99% of them aren't. Like 99% of them are cards that, like, a 9. I get a lot of 8s. I buy a lot of PSA 8s in the modern world, and ultra modern world, just because I want a Blue Ice Curry 2018, and I don't need to pay, the top notch price for the 10. I just want the card because it's a cool card. But I think there are certain niches, like within the Jordan and Kobe markets, where you can get PSA 10s of, like, paper cards that are actually pretty meaningful, because there is something, I think, psychologically, even if a card's been mass produced, to having an upper echelon type of card. It's not my lane so much, but I can appreciate it. But I would say, like, for me, 99% of the cards, like a 10, a 9, it's not all that meaningful. Of course, I would rather have a 10. And of course, if I'm grading something, I'm, like, crossing my fingers that it's going to 10. But for the most part, I'm not impressed by it. And so I lean a little more towards the House of Cards.
or House of Slabs, almost. You could use that term interchangeably.
House of Slabs, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go to you, Jonathan, I'm going to add one more thing about the video that Brian mentions. Not to do spoilers from his video. You guys should all go watch it, absolutely, and please do. And as Jim Scholl here says, Hi Pop Professor Brian is genius. It's must watch YouTube. I agree. I'm really enjoying his channel and the way he talks through the things that are going through his mind. So one of the things he talks about is, and he says in this, is like, as I was thinking this, and I think he says that his wife maybe even kind of was, he showed his wife the slide of the two different prices on that Nolan Ryan, $2 for raw, $7.50 for PSA 10. And where what he was kind of talking about was like, okay, it's the same card, but is it? It's a raw card is one thing. Once it enters a PSA slab, especially a PSA 10, does it become something different? And he goes on to discuss that kind of thought experiment of like, what is different about it? And at the end, spoiler alert, I'm sorry, Brian, I have to say it, but he kind of says, no, I don't think it is any different. At one point I'm thinking to myself, where's it? Are you really going to say, Brian, that you think it's that different? Because if you think it's different, what you're basically saying is that PSA holders themselves are collectibles. That's really what we are saying. The holder itself, you may as well just all you need is an empty PSA holder. Like, you could, I'm sure people have cracked out 10s. You could ask somebody, hey, if you have a cracked out PSA 10 holder, because I know like Loud Collector Phil on the Lucky Cards Gong Show channel, he will break out PSA 10s because he's a top loader guy. He's part of the top loader gang. I think they call themselves top loader binder gang is what they're called. They're like a biker gang, just in the hobby equivalent. Anyway, all you need to do is call up Phil and say, hey, next time you crack out a PSA 10 holder, I want that old 10 holder. It's going to be the coolest thing in my collection. Like, you literally, if you see those as two different things, you are saying, I think, and there's probably ways around this, and I'm probably this is my personal belief, so I'm not calling this truth. But for me, if you see those as two different things, which I mean, physically they are, but the card itself hasn't changed. If they're that much different to you, then yeah, the holder, and assuming that the raw card is gem mint, the raw card is authentic, and all these things, it could have even been authenticated by PSA themselves, just not slabbed for you type of thing. As soon as we say that they are different things, then yes, we are giving that $748 of value to the plastic and $2 of value to the card. And that's just seems completely ludicrous, bizarre, insane. Okay, all that, now that I've added a bit more context to what the High Pop Professor video said, we'll go to you, Jonathan, for your thoughts on, again, House of Cards, cult-like behavior, and what else? And the other thing I just mentioned from Brian's video.
The lane that I know well for this, and it's really the difference even between PSA 10 and PSA 9 is the 80s. So I feel like I get really great value in gorgeous cards, getting like an 83 top Sandberg in a 9, and a Greg Maddux rookies in a 9, and a Wade Boggs rookie in a 9, and they're relatively inexpensive. Even an 82 tops Ripken in a 9 isn't even that expensive, and you flip them to the 10 and they're $1,000. And it's perplexed me for a while. That's one of those ones I assumed would eventually go the other way, and it hasn't. It's that differential has gotten bigger and bigger up to now. But I guess if you ask, I do think there's a bit of a house of slabs that eventually, when the music stops, there won't be enough people willing to pay $1,500 or $500 for an 86 tops cards that's like literally a 14-cent card if it's raw. My economic brain says it can't last forever.
Yeah, and what I kind of come back to when I think that this is the house of type of thing, that discussion line, I always come back to the hobby has been propped up by a lot of big money people coming in and buying big cards, and we have $1 million sales all the time, several $100,000 cards sold every week and month. And that's like, I think a lot of it, I think some of it is driven by like ego. I think a lot of collecting and having nice cards is driven by ego. And I think a lot of it is driven by the flex, the on the social media flex. But at some point, some of these really wealthy people who are putting a lot of money into cards are going to just ask the question, am I overpaying? Am I buying imposters? Am I buying overgraded cards? 10s that were 9s at one point. Again, that I talked about this with Dr. Beckett on his podcast that he hasn't released yet, but he will soon. You can grade a card 9 times, it'll come back a 9, but on the 10th time, it's going to be a 10. And if I'm buying that, I'm going to be, I'd rather have known that I before I bought it, that it was a 9 90% of the times that PSA looked at it, and a 10% 10 only once. The flip side of that is it actually is a sign of some consistency from PSA when that happens. They got it right 90% of the time. The one time they got it wrong, it went in the direction of the collector, or really, the collector who might end up selling. I was going to say, or the seller, but let's say the collector. But eventually, maybe they do sell it. It's a huge value upgrade, and there's going to be a victim out there who may never know they were a victim, but there are victims out there buying these imposters. So that's where I think there could be trouble lurking, is if any of these people who are all about PSA 10s, and I'm not, I'm talking about big cards for the most part, because I think that the high end has really had an impact on the overall market over the past several years, through both cycles, the pandemic cycle and the recent one. I mean, we went up in the pandemic, we came down, we've gone back up. And so anyway, that's when we talk about House of Cards, House of Slabs, that's kind of why I think there's a potential for that. I hope it doesn't happen. And I hope that that PSA, being the 80% shareholder market holder, is able to find a way to fix that. Not sure they can or will, or if they're just too busy growing the company, scaling the business internationally within their own offices, the existing offices, and adding graders as well as much as they can. I heard somebody say recently that this might have been a post on Facebook or Twitter saying something like, well, all they need to do is hire. How hard is it to hire graders? It's not easy. Who wants to do that work? I don't know. Not for that many hours in a row. So Jonathan, any kind of responses to all that?
No, I'm with you on all of it. And to the last point, I can't remember whose podcast or video it was. Somebody was talking about the fact that getting graders who can go through those cards accurately is like the hardest thing that these businesses are having to do. So, yeah, you can't just, especially the vintage world, you can't just get people who can accurately grade a vintage card.
How about you, Joe? Thanks, Jonathan. Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on what we're talking about. Are we talking about, a 2024 Victor Wembanyama Select Tiger Zebra, which, I look at those pops and I kind of assess like an 8, a 9, and a 10. I look at those pop reports. I try to estimate what, which issues, because there's 3 or 4 issues of the car of a Victor. And I try and look at which ones seem to be having the trend of not being graded as well. And that can come down to centering, that can come down to print lines, that can come down to, idiosyncratic things. And I think people look at that on an important player like Victor Wembanyama. If we're talking about Ryan Sandberg, 1983 tops, or something like Donruss, I mean, personally, I'm not thinking that that's going to have the magnitude of sway for a 9 to a 10. The Ricky Hendersons, the 1980 Ricky Hendersons, like how many of those 10s would still be 10s today? Like, I think that's where there's so much potential for slippage in value that you really ought to question yourself if you're like pushing in there. But I do think there's lanes, the 90s inserts world, the skybox, rubies, where you have, a 7 is a good grade for a skybox ruby. And so if there is a 10 out there, and probably someone, I'm not saying they're perfect, but probably someone does have at least the capacity to notice a few things that would differentiate, a card in that era as being a little bit worse or a little bit better. So I guess I'm a little more of a centrist than just saying it's a pure house of cards. I think it really is particular to the niche or the era that you're discussing.
Yeah, well said. The thing I like, the thing that stuck out the most to me there, Joe, was when you said, the imposter. By imposter, I just mean the older graded, high grade cards. Like those are ones where you just kind of need to learn that the standards have changed, and so they're likely not going to get those grades anymore. And if you're spending today's money on cards like that, you might be upset, and that could chase you out of the market, and that could have an impact on kind of downstream potentially. So I appreciate the conversation there, guys. Okay, I'm going to do a couple things here. I'm going to go through some comments, then I'm going to shout out a couple people, and then we're going to bring Chris Ho. Jonathan, I want you to just meet him, and then we'll let you go. I know it's past, it's late for you. You got to go to sleep. You seem like a guy who keeps in good shape. Congrats on your lifestyle habits. Okay, a couple comments. Chris C says, love that Nolan Ryan as a Nolan Ryan collector. Yeah, that Stadium Club card was awesome. The Tux card. Brad's Vintage says, junk wax is junk wax, be it a 10 or a 1. Reef the C says, free your slabs and God will forgive you. Jim Scholl says, Toys R Us, BlackBerry, and Atari were all too big to fail also. Chris C says, it's funny how so many people that love PSA slabs also want to be cremated when they die. No consistency. Iowa Dave, good to see Iowa Dave, says, I own just one PSA 10 and it just happens to be one of my favorite cards, but I'd be lying if I said I never thought about cashing it in. A PSA 10 transforms a sports card into a financial instrument. That last sentence is incredibly powerful. So powerful, I'm going to read it again. A PSA 10 transforms a sports card into a financial instrument. Oh, that's powerful. Jim Scholl says, remember at the end of the Yellow Brick Road when they pulled back the curtain and who the wizard was? Yes. Chris says, the chances of them recouping what they put out is slim. I think he's talking about some of these people buying humongous cards nowadays. He also says there is a lot of overpaying going on. And he also says, graders look at cards for 15 seconds. Let that sink in. It's not enough time, and PSA treats it like an assembly plant. Jeremy Filippelli is saying hello to his favorite people. That's all you guys in the chat, and hopefully us on screen. Hello, Jeremy Filippelli. Brad's Vintage says, getting graders who can accurately grade wouldn't be a problem if they gave someone 2 minutes to look at the card. It is the speed that kills accuracy. It's a good point. And Larry Gitlin says, Adam, Splendid Sports, on yesterday's Turn Back the Clock episode, sent 6 Brady cards graded 8s and 9s and Beckett holders to PSA to regrade, and they all dropped sometime to 5s. House of Slabs crap. So I'm not sure what you're getting at exactly there, Larry. Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure, but maybe what Larry is saying is that it's not a House of Slabs. PSA is grading harder, so it's a very good thing, and it's not a house. Maybe what he's saying is there's a lot more. We can give a lot more credence to the grades coming out of PSA now than ever before. Perhaps that's what he's saying. I'm not exactly sure, but that House of Slabs crap makes me think that he's saying it's not a House of Slabs, which is a fair comment for sure. Okay, thank you everybody for those. Before we bring on Chris, guys, I want to shout out Mint Inc., channel sponsor. They deliver the ultimate hobby experience from live whatnot streams and auctions to grading, breaks, and 2 full retail locations, including the newly opened Ajax location in Ontario. They do it all, and they're buying collections 7 days a week. Click the link in the description below. Use promo code SCL5 for 5% off your first purchase. Shop online anytime with worldwide shipping. Mint Inc., where collecting comes to life. And we're also going to shout out Mr. Minty, guys. Here's what we say about Mr. Minty. Grading is expensive. Tying up your time. Speaking of grading, it's expensive. Tying up your time, money, and assets. Get it right with Mr. Minty. Mr. Minty offers a full line of 100% substance-free pre-grading supplies. 100% substance-free. That's very important. They offer grade preparation and evaluation services and concierge drop-off and pickup PSA submissions, all designed to help collectors save time and money in the expensive grading process. Go to MrMinty.com, save 25% off products using promo code SCL25. Happy collecting and keep it minty. Mr. Minty, everybody, thank you very much for allowing me to do that, as these guys do help keep the lights on here at Sports Cards Live. All right, let's bring on Chris Hoge, because Jonathan, I feel like you've had a communication with him. I don't know if you've ever met face-to-face. I want to facilitate that here on Sports Cards Live on January 17th, 2026. Chris Hoge, give me a thumbs up, buddy. There it is. And there he is. Welcome back. How are you? Please say hello to Jonathan.
Doing well. Hello, Jeremy, Joe, and Jonathan, the 3 J's. Then I come in and ruin it with a C.
Yeah, let's get rid of him, guys. Hold on a second. All right.
Yeah.
We need another. We'll something for Josh Adams, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Josh Adams would complete the quadrants of J.
He'll be
You
here
got
shortly.
the J on the Hoge. You got the J. You got the J. It's in there.
Hey,
True,
Dan
true.
Vintage called it out too. Look at that. He was thinking the same thing. Absolutely.
Nice.
You were just ahead of him there, Joe. Yeah. So Chris, Jonathan, you guys have communicated a little bit here, there, or what?
We have.
Well, I've reached out to Chris for his wisdom. I am a huge fan and admirer, and he has been gracious enough to share some thoughts with me back and forth here and there. But it's wonderful to get to meet you.
Wonderful to meet you as well, Jonathan. I always love talking hobby with you, my friend. And great job tonight on the show as well. It actually inspired the topic that, Jeremy, if we need more topics, I do have one actually that I think would be nice, inspired by Jonathan today.
Well, we will get to that. I also have a topic related to something you've talked about lately, Chris. So I want to get to that too. But
Nice.
in the meantime, let's let Jonathan go. We kept him here way later than I think we were intending to, Jonathan. So if anything else you want to share, I want to give you a moment to, but so I'll let you do that in a moment. But I want to say thank you for coming on. Welcome to the community, to the public conversation. Welcome to Instagram. Follow Jonathan at RexCards24, you guys. But Jonathan, thanks for coming on. I look forward to meeting you in person and continuing to build a friendship moving forward.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you. I have enjoyed every minute of it. I could talk cards with you guys for hours and hours and hours, and who knows, maybe I will in the future, but I don't want to overstay my welcome tonight. So thank you.
It's great. Well, listen, you can stick around if you want, but it's late, so I want to.
Yeah, I think we're right that I need to get to bed before I start mumbling.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming. Great to see you. We'll be in touch. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you all. Appreciate it very much.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Good to have him join the show, introduce him to the community. I think it's just it's an honor to be able to do that. And it's nice to have that inclusionary sort of environment here in the hobby. And so really proud to be able to do that. Chris, we'll get to your topic. I have a question for you. Josh Adams has entered the back. Let's bring Josh on as well. Josh, you get to go. I see the thumbs up. There he is.
If you needed one more J, I'm right here, so we're all set.
Well, now we've got 3 J's, but across a different axis, we have 3 bald guys and one with the Sports Cards Live cap on. So, yeah, that's the way it goes here, right? That's the way it goes on Sports Cards. Look at Joe; he's so studious there.
I'm trying to find Rex's IG handle. What is it? Rex Cards.
Rex
what?
Cards 24. Rex Cards
24. Okay, there's
24.
a lot of Rex Cards out there. All right, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Josh, how are you?
Pretty good. Enjoying the weather. Nervous about tomorrow, but whatever happens, happens. They won 4 games last year, so I can't really be upset.
Yeah, it's been a good comeback year for sure for the Bears. Absolutely. Okay, so what I was wanting to sort of get at in terms of you, Chris Hoge, is you put out a podcast like I don't know yesterday or the day before.
Put out a podcast.
Put out a big podcast, I would say, and I watched the first 15 minutes. A lot of talk about mostly I don't remember the first 15 minutes as well because I found that episode really heated up after maybe that 15-20 minute mark. And you're going through a pretty interesting mind bender, I would say. You have to get your head around something very serious. One of the things that Chris has done, you guys, if you're not aware, is he's built a framework around Michael Jordan 101s pre 1990s, I would say, a very detailed, structured framework with 72 one-of-ones that exist for MJ, and a very prominent card from that hierarchy has appeared at auction, and you're going through a very difficult dilemma. Is this something we can talk about, Chris?
Yeah, it's a dilemma that I might even say well, because you kind of had a similar one last year with the Shoeless Joe.
It was so much easier for me though than it's been for you, and I can tell. Watching your video, Chris, it was one of the most compelling videos I've watched. I really enjoyed it. You really showed your passion and the struggle you're going through, and the reason that you're even going through a struggle is because you're at a point now where you're kind of going to have to. You're considering like nuking your collection.
Right. Or a big chunk of it. Yeah. A big chunk of it.
I mean, and so it's a serious thing. Like, why don't you just, for people who didn't watch the Hoge cast, just talk a bit about what is the card you're considering making a play on and what you would have to do to make that play.
Yeah. So 2 of Michael Jordan's 90s one-of-ones are up for sale with Heritage. Not quite yet, but they'll be coming to auction around February 6th, I think, according to their website. And I'm really interested in one of them. They're both great cards, but I like the one a little bit more. And the dilemma is that if I want to go after it, I'm going to have to really give up a lot of cards that mean a lot to me, and I've really carefully selected and curated for my collection. So very much a first world problem, but that's sort of the dilemma here is that do I want to make this seismic shift in the composition of my collection? And I kind of do, but then there's like these other concerns too. Like, let's say I commit to it, but the card's at auction, I don't know what it's going to sell for. What if it goes for way more than I thought? And then that has to make me change plans again. So I have to kind of get strategic. I have to think about, how do I want to, I'm engaging with discussions about the auction house to see if there's a way, I can see if I can win the auction and then send some cards in for consignment to pay for it that way. So there's a lot of logistics here to think about after making the tough decision of, which way do I want to go with my collection?
A couple of words that I've come up with, Chris, that would explain what I think you'd be doing, because you go through in the video, guys, he shares his card ladder showcase, which has his collection, and he shows all the cards that he would have to give up in order to get this card. So here are a few words I've plucked out of the thesaurus, Chris, as to what I think you would be doing to your collection. Nuke. I think you'd be nuking your collection.
Yes.
I think you'd be incinerating it. I think you'd be decimating it, annihilating it, and obliterating it.
Yes, good,
think-
man. Joe, do you have any other synonyms for us?
I mean, I've got a lot of thoughts on this subject. Keep going, Jay Lee. Keep going. I bring it to me when you're done. I've got some thoughts.
I mean, listen, it's and like Luke Browning here says, the way you sighed after talking about the cards you would have to give up, it didn't feel like it was the right move for you. Just my thoughts from listening earlier today. Listen, Chris, do you want our thought? Do you want my thought on it?
Yeah, I'm really at a crossroads. So I appreciate the wisdom from fellow collectors in the chat, from the 3 J's on the screen. All of it's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wouldn't do it, dude. I don't think you should do it. Here's kind of why. Like, just to get right to the point. Yes, it's his first one of one. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Okay, couple things. First of all, I don't love the aesthetic, but that's subjective completely. Doesn't matter so much, I don't think, especially to an analytical human and collector and hobbyist like yourself. However, it's not just the card you're going after that I don't think is it's not just about that card. It's about the cards you have. You said it yourself. The journey that you've taken, the difficulty, the challenges of acquiring all these cards that you've acquired in order to get the one you want. A lot of them are not going to be replaceable. That's the other thing. I think about Tony, Southern Collector, who BWS just put something about in the chat. He did a video the other day where he gave up a ton of cards for 2 Jackie Robinson signed cards. Those don't come around very often. And every card he gave up, he can easily replace because they're vintage. They're a dime a dozen, really. You can find them if you want. Some will be harder than others, but you can find a 33 Gehrig, no problem. You can pick up any 48 Leaf card or 49 Leaf card. So, but for you, some of them there are a few more difficult cards. But the experiences you've had picking those cards up, Chris, and I know you've driven miles for some of them. The people you've met through them, it's all gone for one card. And plus you've got such beautiful collections of the Luka collection comes to mind. You're basically like, yeah, this would all be gone. Like, so many of them. The Jokic collection, not all gone, but a lot are gone. Collecting is we all want Apex cards, but it's like MK at Sports Cards on Instagram says he traded his whole collection for the PMG green Michael Jordan. Like, can you imagine going from a collection like his, which is super broad and pretty freaking awesome, to one card? How exciting is that? It's just not to me. Like, I would never do that unless I was like making $100 million in the process and the money finally got the better of me, but like, so I don't know, Chris, like for me, you'd be giving up so much of what you love and the research you put into it. Like, a lot of your life has gone into the collection you have to give it all up. And these are not common cards. We're talking one-of-ones. We're talking all the experiences of acquiring them, the stories, the meetings, the telling the stories. You even said yourself a few times, I was hoping to tell the story about this card on the podcast. Now I'm not going to be able to. It's not mine anymore. Like, you're going to run out of content. You're like, it's almost, the content pipeline will be obliterated, annihilated, nuked, decimated, and incinerated all in one fell swoop as well. So for me, and listen, I'm not you, so I don't want to say don't do it, even though I might have already said that. I would just say I wouldn't do it because I think I would just miss my hobby history. Would be, it's like in life, you meet whatever your situation is, but you've got your memories. It's almost like if you had to cut off all your memories and start over again, all those memories are gone. And now you've just got this one new shiny object. It might make you feel pretty good to have, but you'd be losing a lot of cards along the way that I think you just love. And I noticed you even say like, oh, maybe I could keep this one, and I'll keep this collection. I don't know if it was the McCaffrey or one of the collections. You said you'd keep it because maybe not McCaffrey, but you said it wouldn't really move the needle anyway if you were to sell them. You said that a couple times. So great. You're going to have that one big card, a few of your other MJ 101s. You might even have to give up one or two of your MJ 101s. And you're going to keep the cards that don't even move the needle that you probably don't love as much as your Lukas or your Jokic's and some of the MJs that you would move and McCaffrey's. I don't know, man. I wouldn't do it. Okay, I'm done. You can keep on soaking this in. Let's go to Joe, and then I'm sure Josh will be the contrarian here. I think maybe. Let's go to Joe.
Well, first of all, Jeremy, I appreciate your weighing in. I always actually appreciate your perspective on when I'm thinking about things. You don't hold back. You give your straight truth, and that's what I love about you, man.
I love you too, Joe. Thank you.
As far as the MJ masterpiece, one of one, first ever MJ one of one, the way that Hoj brought the fork in the road, I just keep seeing that fork in the road in the video. Such a perfect symbol. The first thing I'm going to say is the part that was the most interesting for me personally was your acknowledgement that the one of one stamp on the back does mean something to you. And I think that's incredibly important. While the presentation of the platinum in the non one of ones is more or less the same, the one of one stamp provides an exclusivity that is tantamount to, all one of ones. I mean, what are, I myself tend to want an upgrade on sort of the aesthetic in some way. Like if we think of the difference between a rave and a super rave, for instance, like, okay, we're going to get a little bit of an upgrade in terms of like whatever little pixie dust they're throwing at the card. If that's not a bother to you, in fact, if that's actually a subtle amplifier of the whole situation, like, because you mentioned that sort of a subtlety that actually makes the whole situation even more compelling, more power to you. Like I think that's great. Like my sensibilities are different, but it's not my collection, so I wouldn't deign to sort of project my sensibilities on you. That's and on top of that, I kind of wanted to add that I don't think this would be a bad financial move. I don't think there's any way on God's good earth that you're going to get the first MJ one of one, and it's and if it's on the back of Luka, Jokic, Mahomes, like all those guys, I love. I with the exception of Mahomes, I mean, I do collect a little Jokic. I collect a little Luka in my own modest way, but I don't think there's any financial trepidation that I would have in terms of consolidating in the direction of an MJ one of one, particularly of that magnitude, because that's always going to be a fulcrum of the deepest and most well-resourced collectors in the industry, in the hobby. So that said, I agree with Jeremy. I wouldn't blow up your collection because I think there's more entertainment or enrichment to be had with the variety of cards that it would take to get into that Jordan. I think there's still stories emerging with Luka and obviously Jokic and Mahomes to some degree, and what other resources. And I know that those players mean a lot to you, and that's not to say that Jordan doesn't mean a lot to you as well. But you're pretty well stocked and situated with the Jordan, and so from my perspective, I think you should still keep your eye out on some potential move that gets you into a Jordan. This is just my perspective. I think it's still a fair game to move in, consolidate into a Jordan, but I just don't know if this is the one that I would do it for.
Great stuff, Joe. But this is the one. I mean, this is the one. This is the apex card. It's on the top of his whole hierarchy. Like, this is the one. Okay, let's hear from Joshua Adams, please.
Do it. 100% do it. First of all, I didn't watch your show yesterday, but are you giving up like all the one of ones you just picked? Like, are you giving up the dentist power deck one of one?
No, not that one. Not that
All
one.
right, good. All right, 'cause
Yeah.
that's a great story. But
Yeah.
what would you be giving up? Anything replaceable, or is it like it's gone once it's gone?
It's a lot of stuff that would probably just be gone. Yeah.
But you know what though? Every time you look at that card, you'll have all those memories of all the other cards that you had. Because I did that. I did that not to the extent of the breadth and rarity, but I had some pretty rare stuff that I got rid of for 2 cards that I've always wanted, and I have them now. And when I look at them, I think of the past 25 years of collecting, going to shows, buying cards, trading for cards that I had that I used to then put into this one card that, frankly, for me, is my favorite Michael Jordan card, the 2 favorite Michael Jordan cards. And I want those. And they mean a lot to me based on the years they came out, the years of my life, and, you know, the nostalgia as a kid. I won't be able to get most of them back, but I can get some of them back. But the point is, I thought I'd regret it. I have 0 regrets. Do it. Do it. That card is awesome. You should get it.
Okay, hold on. So, okay, love it, Josh, and that was just awesome. So, here's a couple more just thoughts I'm having. I went through a big consolidation last year, 330 cards into one. I still have a kick-ass collection. Like, I did not skip a beat, even having to get rid of 330 cards to come up with enough to purchase that Joe Jackson card. I have 0 regrets. I don't miss the cards I gave up. Like, there's a couple out of 330, maybe I miss a half a dozen of them, you know, where I'm like, but like, that's it. So you have to ask yourself that question, Chris. Will you miss the cards you are giving up? That's one thing. As Tony did, Southern Collector, the cards he gave up, he can get them all back. Even his American Caramel, Honus Wagner, those come up for sale every so often. He can get them all back. So that's, you know, it doesn't matter if he misses them or not. He can get them back. Even 1956 Topps guy, who I think is kind of out of the hobby right now. You know, he picked up a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle and gave up cards that he spent years saving up for and acquiring and being picky and specific. But he decided, I'm going to give up these 15 cards for the Mantle. 7, I'm okay never getting back. 8, I will get back eventually. Even Tony was even saying, guys, just watch my content for the rest of the year. You'll see me getting these cards back. But in the moment, he had to sell them to raise the funds to buy that one, those 2 Jackie Robinson cards. Jump in, Josh.
Okay, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for you also. And you may not be able to get some of these cards back, but you'll never be able to get that card ever again. Once it's gone, it's gone.
But that's what he thought about it this time. Unless it ends up in the Wondershine Index, maybe. But even then, you never know.
Well, there's some other... If it ends up in the Vortex, it's gone. Right? So it's gone. But if you get it, Diamond Hands, it's gone forever, and you'll have it. You'll never see it again if you don't get it. You got to do it.
So saying that right there means that Chris is like never going to sell it. So literally, because there's a comment in the chat, and I've got too many of them picked out right now. We might get to it after, but a comment in the chat that's sort of insinuating that if it could be a home run for you, Chris. You could get the card, but if you never move it, you're never like if you do move it, now you're starting from scratch and you got nothing that you had before and nothing like, you could pick it up for a couple $1 million worth of cards out of your collection right now. Huge figures here. You could flip it for say 2 million. I'm just picking out a number to 7 or 8 or 10 million in 10 years. Now all you've got is money, but no cards. Is that where you want to be? I don't know. It's a lot of money, but is that where you want to be as well? We all just don't know. Okay. Before we go to Chris, I wanted to make sure we get everything out of the panel first. Back to you, Joe.
Well, first of all, this is what I love about the hobby. Like these kinds of conversations where you reckon your holdings. And I like the fact that, I mean, you know, Hoj has done better in the world of economics than I have in my life. And he's younger than I am. So I have to acknowledge that. But I kind of like that part of this story does involve some sacrifice. because that's what makes it all meaningful. Like if I'm Wondershine, this isn't even a conversation. It's just like, I woke up on this side of the bed and I think I'll do this. I mean, I appreciate the idea that there's a grind involved. And Jay Lee, even though you may not miss those cards or, 6 of the 300, I know that it was a lot of energy and a lot of work for you to actually convert that into the Joe Jackson. It was a lot of like actual physical labor. It was a lot of, traveling and putting things in your backpack and, getting on airplanes. I mean, it was not a small thing for you to do that. Like it took a lot of mental space, right? So that's part of the hobby that I think is just incredibly, I don't know. I just find it compelling, I guess. But back to the situation at hand. I don't know, man. I think what I would do is I would, and I'm sure this is probably you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd probably just think of the number, like there's a number and the number that it's worth to you, give or take. I was there when Jay Lee thought he had a number and he went a little above his number. So I know those moments in real time sometimes, but I would think of your baseline number and maybe your outside and inside. And I would just, I would keep it within that framework to some degree, because we just don't know. Maybe Wondershine is listening to this and is plotting, like, well, sorry, Hosh, it's not going to happen, because some people just are more well-resourced. So you have to acknowledge that that's a possibility within that. And then it becomes an issue of like timing and sequence and sort of calibration of your own capacity and maybe working with someone and, or, auction houses, whatever, you've got a lot of connections and I think you could work that out. But I would just kind of dial into where is my spot? And then, you stay on your spot, you're golden either way.
So thanks, Joe. Chris, before you respond to all this, I want to ask you, like, does hearing this change anything for you? Like you seemed undecided at the end of your video. I'm curious if hearing from us and what the chat is saying, like, are you open to anything you're going to hear externally, or do you believe that your final decision will be driven exclusively from your own I'm not rigid in a bad way, but like your rigid analysis, because you've done this very deep analysis of everything. You know what you have into your cards, you know what this is, you know the most about this card based on your research. I want to hear what your response to all this, but I'm just curious if anything that we've said would have a material impact on your final decision. Over to you.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Like somebody can say something and it just like changes how I see everything else. And it's partially how I work too as a person, is that I'm at least in some ways I'm very extroverted. Like I remember on the first day of law school, the professor who was sort of orientating us or whatever came out and she was like, some of you are going to be introverts and you're not going to talk in class and you're going to learn just by reading things and it's just going to make sense to you and you don't have to go through dialogues. Others of you are extroverts. You're going to have to learn by raising your hand. You're going to have to learn by asking in class, and you're going to have to learn through dialoguing and talking things out. And like that was like a real light bulb moment for me, because I'm definitely a person who learns by talking things out and by hearing from other people. That's why I have a podcast. It's just because like I learn things that I had no idea I would even say as the podcast is going along. So I'm definitely taking in consideration every comments, every from you guys, from the chat itself. The funny ones are good too, and then kind of it's like there's a dialogue to it, which is like anytime an opinion is put forth, that's like something new to think about, and then I say, well, how could I reply to it? Like, what are the rebuttals to that? And so and then you sort of say, do I like the rebuttal better or do I like the main point better? So yeah, this is I'm the guinea pig here, but I think every collector goes through this. That's I think decisions like this get made in collections every day, all day. So that's what's kind of neat about it too, is that this is one example, but decisions like this on different scales get made every single day by most collectors.
And you know, just to add to that, the inactions are decisions that are being made every day, because I could sell my whole collection tomorrow and buy one big card. Maybe it's a PSA 7, no, maybe an 8 Mickey 52 Topps Mantle. Not my dream card, so I'm not going to do it. But maybe I could go get myself a PMG red Michael Jordan, a humongous card, you know, whatever, a super high grade Gordie Howe rookie. I would never do that. I'm more than happy with my gorgeous copy that lives in a PSA 4 holder. These are sort of different, because the one that you're looking at is a 1 of 1. It's the only one. It's a very important card in the Michael Jordan hierarchy. Perhaps the most important non-autograph memorabilia Jordan card ever made. So you are really sitting with a serious dilemma here. So it's going to be tough, but we're all making decisions all the time not to do this, right? Not to do this. Yeah, I went for the Joe Jackson. It came available, but there could have been a different, maybe, I don't know what it could have been otherwise, but there could have been another significant card. Everybody watching right now, there's a card out there you all want to get, and it's you probably have the cardboard capital to get it, but you are deciding not to do it. One of two reasons: either you don't want to do it because it's not a move you want to make, or it's a lot of work. You don't want to put in the work and all that as well to do it. So, you know, there's other reasons why we're not making these decisions regularly, to go through that whole consolidation effort. But and then, Chris, I wanted to ask you also, you are going very public with your conundrum around this. I was watching the video, I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I would want to bring more attention to it. How do you kind of get your head around that aspect of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, I would dispute the idea of going very public, because my podcast gets a few hundred listens and viewers. So it's, you know, it's not like this is gonna get on the radar of very many people. It's a small community of people. A lot of them, like, I DM with already anyway. It's just sort of like, this is a way for me to long form say things, and really kind of help myself develop thoughts, really. And I just enjoy the process too. So I think it's more the fact of, like, my friends would be like, what are you going to do about this? You know, and sort of, I'm like, well, let's see, let's figure it out. Let's actually kind of walk through the thought process. And then if, like, as a benefit of that, maybe somebody else takes some inspiration from that for their own collection, one way or the other, they sort of say, oh, okay, I see how he's sort of thinking through this. Like, how does this impact me? How would I think that's the hobby content that really strikes the right chord, is when it gets the collectors in the audience thinking about their own collections. That's like, anytime I'm listening to, even like you and Adam doing the monthly Fanatics show, like, inevitably I'm just sitting there and I hear you guys in one ear and I'm just thinking about my own collection at the same time, just sort of like thinking through, you know, if these guys are doing this or that, like, well, how, you know, do I really want either of these, or how would one of these fit into my collection? So, you know, I think some of that is happening too. And then, you know, I'm soliciting feedback. Like, I really do benefit a lot from hearing the points of view and the opinions of other people. That's like, that can be really helpful and help me see things through lenses that I wouldn't otherwise have seen it. And, like, people have come forth with information about this card. Like, people have come through with strong opinions about how they feel about the card. Some people really don't like it. Some people do. Some people are wondering why would anybody sell it in the first place? You know, and so it raises a lot of good questions. And I guess that's just kind of how it works. You know, it's like a community. It's like a, I don't know, community exercise that, you know, I'm kind of like leaning on people to give their input if they want to volunteer it. And also just kind of knowing that people have sort of watched me do this research for a while. And then here's something that directly relates to it. So I probably have an opinion on it one way or the other. Might as well share it.
You're muted.
Thanks, Joe. Have you been thinking about, Chris, like, what you would feel like the days and weeks after the whole maneuver is completed? Now you look at your collection, it's you know, just so much smaller than it once was. Have you thought about that? Like, and do you love the card itself? I know you love the idea, the concept of the card. Do you love the card itself?
Yeah, see, that's another dimension to this too, is that I'm really passionate about Jordan's 90s one of ones, but I've only been collecting them since June of 2025. Like, this is a pretty new project for me. It's a new direction shift. I think, like, every few years I kind of come up with a new approach that's exciting, and I sort of start from that angle. But very rarely, if ever, has it caused me to actually have to like tear down other things that I'd already built. So, that's part of the thing too, is that do I want to risk biting off more than I can chew, or maybe should I just continue on the path that I'm continuing on? Because, to be honest, like, I wasn't going out of my way to try and find this card and get it. It's the fact that it's come to auction that's confronting me with it, and then sort of I look at the fruits of my research and I say that this is obviously is a very special card, but there is risk to it. Like, kind of Joe made the point about the financial aspect of the card, but I'm not sure if I agree. I think that this is a really risky card. I think this is a card that it's rare and obscure as opposed to rare and iconic. So, like, the PMG grain, yeah, sure, it has 10 copies, but it's very iconic. It's very coveted. Everybody knows what it is. It's up on a pedestal. A card like this is rare and obscure. It's just not really front of mind for anybody. It's not really a card that anybody in the crowd is going after. It doesn't really seem to have the qualities of investability or belonging in an index. It's really more of a card for the nerd collector like myself. So all these things factor in, and I just, there's certainly a world where this card never matters. It matters to me, which is ultimately the only thing that matters. But from a financial point of view, from a market point of view, there's certainly a world where this card just will always dwell in obscurity, which is fine by me. But that's a dimension of this too.
Okay, before we continue on this topic, can someone please go check in on Bob Boozle? He just put this into the chat. I don't know what it is, but I've never seen it before. Someone please go check in on Bob Boozle. Let's make sure he is okay. All right, so we got some great comments on this. Let's just go sort of in reverse order here for a moment. I want to do this one here. Ken Wood, Chris Hoge, regardless of value, would the Jordan 1 of 1 make you happier than the cards you would have to give up? You don't have to answer it, but feel free to respond as you'd like, or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to know until it happened. I'll tell you this: very happy with the cards I currently have. So if what comes from this is that I continue the collection as I have it, I'm not upset about that even slightly.
You're not upset if the card goes away. You could never have a chance of owning it in the future.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's very telling right there. How about this one from Luke Browning? Is the reason you want the card is because it is the best or because it is the rarest based on your algorithm? It's a big question.
See, that's the ongoing question, is figuring out what does best mean.
Okay. Vintage says, Chris, do you know the owner who is putting it up for sale?
I can't confirm. I have. There's a hunch, or some people have shared some opinions on that, but I can't confirm.
Chris C says, if the Jordan were autographed, then I would say maybe you would have an argument for going for it. How do you respond to the autographed angle?
I was thinking about that today. Actually, as I was at the Front Row Card Show in San Diego, walking around, and one of the dealer booths had like these incredible Michael Jordan autographs, including one of them had the Upper Deck commemorative autograph that's on the wood card, and I was just actually like really like thinking about how much more a Michael Jordan autograph card stands out, especially because he just doesn't have very many pack issued ones from his playing days, or even from the 90s. So I don't know. I think, yeah, I mean, but by the same token, I've never been an autograph collector. I have one autographed Michael Jordan card in my collection, and it's not one that I sought to add. It was one that I took back in a trade to make values even. So for me, I'm not a big Michael Jordan autograph collector, but it's funny that comment comes up just because I was sort of thinking about how special the Michael Jordan autographed cards are, even though they're really not for me.
Grail Hunter said, comes down to joy. If you do it 1 year from now, when you look at that card, is it going to bring you joy? Or when you look at that card, are you going to be thinking about the cards you sold? Tough to respond to that right now. A couple comments came in earlier, mostly making fun of the bald dudes. Card Fuchsia says, had to turn the screen brightness down. Chris C said, can we get Mr. Clean as a sponsor? And Dan Vintage said, bald guys are definitely overrepresented in the hobby. Mr. Mano says, a bald takeover. I love keep the bald jokes coming, guys. We love them. Chris C says, Chris, keep what you have. I prefer a variety. Okay, it's funny. Keep what you have, and then he talks about what he prefers. I prefer a variety of cards instead of a trophy wife LOL. Sorry, you get the point. Which is it's a fair comment. So I mean, we all project all the time, right? So just a comment from Chris C, a good one. Fourth the game, Hoj, in the same issue. So curious about your thoughts. I don't know what that was about. Brad's Vintage said, that's why I don't get the consolidation movement. Giving up a lot of cards you love to get one card you love seems like a bad trade-off. I mean, that's a big volume play there, Chris. And it reminds me of MK's PMG green offer. It's like I'll trade my whole collection for one PMG green, and I just can't get my head around that. I feel like this is close to that, not completely, but it's a similar kind of maneuver in that way. You're giving up a ton of great cards. So anything you want to respond to as I'm going through these comments, Chris, just lean in like that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I just enjoyed that comment. That's a great comment.
Well, I've got can I ask Chris one follow-up? Is there another card that sits just below this card that's been on your mind at all as far as an MJ Grail? Like, I don't know. Like, this one emerged, and so that's the one in the spotlight right now. But is there something else that you've kind of been that you could also potentially want to consolidate for in 6 months, a year, 5 years?
Sort of. I think that this card is going to go for a price that like there was a comment that sort of came in that sort of said, like, if you really have to trade your whole collection for something, it's probably too expensive for you, which is wise. And I think about that. And I think that I really like where I'm going right now. Like, the ones that I'm focusing on for Jordan are 1% of the value of this card or less. Based on, I don't know what this card ends up going for. And that's a big factor too. Like, is this card maybe like grossly overvalued relative to the joy that I would get out of it? Because I don't see as big of a distinction between his 72, 90s, 1/1s that the market's ultimately going to end up yielding for this card.
Interesting. Chris C says, I have over 300 different Kobe Bryant cards. No way I would sell all of them to get a rare low numbered 90s Kobe. Iowa Dave said, I nuked my collection in 2024 for a Jackie rookie, and it was the second best hobby decision I ever made. The best was robbing Ash in 2024. I can't believe they still haven't caught me yet. Bob Boozle says, oh, geez, I just caught on to that. Wow, that was a big Dave. Bob Boozle says, I will call Jeremy before I file for divorce. Linda's first says, Jeremy, it's all about the moments and memories, and Chris will never lose those. Fair. Yeah, I guess, you have a spouse, your spouse passes away, you'll still have those. You just move on to a new spouse, but hopefully the new spouse still allows you to recognize, to respect the memory of the old spouse. So yeah, that makes sense to me. I saw another comment similar to this, and in a way, those memories, like I was saying before, the memories are erased. Maybe they're not. So I'm willing to retract that comment. That makes more sense to me. GST Warrior says, absolutely trade every Luka you have for that 1/1 Jordan. Rob Star says, if what you're giving up would be next to impossible to buy back again in the future, it should be a no-go. Chris C says, Chris, your collection is epic. It's not like you're trading away cards you can get back for the same cost or effort. Vintage Card Collector said, if you have to trade your entire collection for a couple of cards, you probably can't afford it. Just like if you cash in your 401k to buy a house, you can't afford the house. I think that there's something to that. But what I will say is, like, card capital is different than money in the bank. You can afford it. It just takes cards. So it's can you mentally afford it? Not can you financially afford it? You don't need the finances. You have the cards, which are another financial instrument that you can convert into this one card. So you can afford it, but if it was cash, you probably wouldn't. So, and are you leaning forward because you got something to say?
Yeah, I agree with what you've said there. And I also find that the point of view being taken there is prudence, partially because if you sort of convert all your cards into one card, then in order to take any equity out of your collection, if you ever needed to, you just have to sell your one card, essentially. So that can be that can remove optionality. Like if having 100 cards that are worth $100 each versus, having one that's worth $10,000, that's a big difference. So, you have optionality when you have more cards. So I get it. I think it's a prudent point of view, but here's the other side of it. The other side of it is that life is short, and it's always good to be financially prudent. But one of the things that makes the card exciting is the sort of self-realization that I probably should not have it. And that makes me want it even more. right? I think that's sort of at the heart of a lot of ambitious collecting.
That's what's similar to my Joe Jackson maneuver, Chris, is that I never thought it wasn't on my want list. I never thought I'd have just like the Honus Wagner T206 is not on my want list. But I had a chance at it. It's like, oh my gosh, I could actually make this happen. So I think in that case, we'll have gone through a similar mind exercise. Bob Boozle says Jeremy Lee speaks very harshly but truly. Thank you, Bob Boozle. Rob Star says when you sell a card, the stories go with it or no longer matters. But Linda's First disagrees. You will always be a part of the card's history, and it will always be in your memory. I see both sides, but Bob Boozle says, should Hoj owe Luka an apology for giving up on his career? BMW says the move could be a home run, but got to be ready to flip it and start from scratch. Maybe you got to flip it, or maybe not. Linda's First says, haha, I love Josh. Sammy Hill, can we just start a hobby-wide GoFundMe for Chris to get the one-of-one masterpiece so he doesn't have to nuke his PC? Double V Mike says, thanks, Jeremy. I was just about to ask how the situation differs from your Shoeless Joe acquisition last year, which we talked about. Trees and cardboard. Good deals and trades hurt. You got to give something up if you want to get something in return. Absolutely. Linda's First says, quotes me, now all you got is money. Says, actually, that's not a bad thing, Jeremy. Right on. It's not a bad thing, but hey, Chris could sell all of his cards and get money right now and have a lot of money. He doesn't want money. We want cards more than money. That's why we collect cards, guys. Vintage says, I absolutely could see the Shine Group buying the MJ 101. If they really want it, they will get it. You can't outbid a billionaire. Jeremy from California says, if I ever got thrown in the slammer, I'd want Hoj to get me out. Good dude, so well spoken. Do what's going to make you happy now. I like that. I mean, it's all great comment from top to bottom. I like the ending there. Bob Boozle says, I think Jeremy, Joe, Joshua, and Hoj should form a syndicate to buy this one-of-one. I think you got the wrong people there. So Bob Boozle was apparently, thank you to Christina's PC, was speaking Slovenian. Christina tells me he's being Luka. Jeremy, he's fine. I'm just relieved to hear that Bob Boozle is fine. We didn't see him for a little bit. We don't want to lose him again. Foul Ball says you can make new memories if you give them up. Yeah, you can. That's a good point right there. And Bob Boozle, Sammy Hill. Oh no, Bob Boozle says Sports Card Illuminati is watching. Keep that in mind. Sammy Hill says, is there risk that this card will get shilled? I mean, there's always risk, but this is like, you got to think that like this card is going to be very closely watched by the powers that be at Heritage to make sure that it is not. And then Dan's Vintage says, Tony, oh yeah, we've talked about this a couple times already. Dan, you must be coming in and out, which of course is allowed here on Sports Cards Live, but he is just reiterating what I said earlier, that Tony did something similar, moved cards that were pricey, but not terribly rare. He will eventually get all of them back. Yeah, he will. And he even talked about getting some of them back coming up at Strongsville in April. Okay, I haven't read this next comment in full, but it looks good. Decoy Card says, if you have family photos on your walls at home, could you take all but one down? Would that one photo be enough? If you had to get rid of all but one MJ card, would this be the one you'd keep? That's an interesting exercise to go through in your mind, Chris. And again, jump in if you want on any of this stuff. Hoops Hobby Hangout, if the distinction to you is a fraction of the distinction in value, does that mean that the joy you'd get from the Jordan may not equal the joy you'd get from all the other cards you're giving up?
Yes, really exactly. It's exactly right. That's the great point, is that there's so many other cards out there that have such a lower profile that maybe one by one aren't quite as exciting and as invigorating as this one, but together they probably do exceed it.
That's interesting. Luke Browning says, in poker parlance, this is an all-in moment, usually a poor decision unless you have the nuts. There is no bluff equity in this move. That's a great analogy there as well. A couple more, then we'll get final comments and move on from the topic. Dave Marone, my buddy, says, sell your hundreds of cheap cards and replace them with more meaningful, iconic items. You'll be so way better off. Yeah, this is a little bit of a different situation. We're talking about selling hundreds of extremely rare, one of one, and iconic type of car, iconic for what they are. It's a little bit different in this case, Dave. Bob Boozle, don't worry, Luca. Hoja's departure creates an opportunity for me to become your number one collector. Card Fuchsia says you could take a loan out on that Jordan. You would retain optionality. The collection firm says, come on, Jeremy. I just don't know what you're telling me. I wish I knew what that was about, David, but I don't know what you're getting at. So, but please, I when I'm being called on something, I want to know what I'm being called on so I can at least reconsider my thoughts. I don't know what that was about. Okay. Hoj, any final comments on this?
I appreciate you guys giving this your time and your inputs. I didn't expect that, and I value it. I'm really grateful for people who've chimed in, and especially from the point of view of experience and people who've gone down this path before. It's really cool. I'm humbled to get all this feedback. It's super cool.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, I skipped some of your sorry. I just didn't see them. Sometimes there's a lot there. I don't know that I skipped any on purpose. David Kana, what do you say? Guru of Gangstar went bald head slick in his later solo career. I don't know who that is. He says Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that might have been worthy. Can't outbid the CIA and especially not the IRS. Are they? They're not bidding on. Well, who knows? I guess. Sorry, sorry, David. Okay. Anyway, let's. And Sammy Hill, just curious what you're up to there, Joe, up in the corner there, top right of the screen.
I'm putting a Aurora Jokic into a mag because I want it out of it's a beautiful card. Anyway, Jokic, yeah, baby, MVP.
You bet, David. You bet. Okay, so everyone's good on the Hoj dilemma, and Chris, I know that we kind of just threw that all upon you because you talked about on your podcast, which gets great views. I thought it was a free game, and we obviously went to town on it. So, even though you might be putting on a brave face, I apologize if we went over any boundaries.
Dude, not even slightly. This is one of my favorite parts about this hobby, and that it actually feeds into the question that I've brought for tonight. But one of my favorite parts of the hobby is discussions like this. I mean, this was as if we were all in a card shop together, but it's just magnified. Instead of 4 of us, it's hundreds of us in a chat, kind of just talking hobby and talking with real stakes, with like real big decisions. And like I said, I think collectors go through this more often than we discuss with each other. So when we can all kind of gather around and have the discussion together, it fires me up. This is why I love hobby content in a nutshell.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that makes me feel better because I wasn't sure, but you've appeased me. Sammy Hill says, nice card, Joe. Beautiful, beautiful card. And then Ken Wood says, Chris, tell us about the Front Row Card Show you were at. I'll just flash there because they do support the channel here. So Chris was at this one here today, the San Diego show. They also have a show right this week, today and tomorrow, Tacoma, and then Pasadena, Jan 31, Feb 1, which is a 540 table show, which is pretty huge. But Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about the show that you're at, that you went to today? How was it?
Good show. Made a few pickups, actually, which is a sign of a good show. Got to see some dealer tables that I don't normally see. I guess the last show I was at would have been the one in Connecticut that Christine and I went to, I guess in late November. So it was, now this was in San Diego, total opposite side of the country. So cool show, good dealers, very, very busy show. I mean, there was lots of people, not only there, but lots of people coming and going too throughout the show. I mean, every space in that room and in the lobby outside was pretty much filled with people, shoulder to shoulder. So great show, well attended, good dealer booths, good experience. Came home with pickups. Can't really ask for more.
Pickups that are coming out of the 101 budget. Just kidding. Let me ask you this: how would you describe the sports card versus TCG card contingents there?
Yeah, that's a bit of the negative. So, but I have a zag on this. But I was there with a friend, and he was kind of on the side that maybe it was more, considerably more Pokemon and TCG than sports cards. I don't know, maybe it was 50-50, maybe more. But here's my zag on that is that when I get to a show, especially one that has hundreds and hundreds of tables like this, I really want to see every table. It's like a checklist I have to mark off that I at least looked at every table. And so what's nice about having the Pokemon on the TCG tables is that as I'm like kind of systematically going through the rows, when I come up on one of those tables, I just go by it and I don't have to take any time looking at it, and I can check it off, and I can feel like I accomplished something by walking by it. So it feels like I'm accomplishing more than maybe I am when I do that. But yeah, there were lots of dealers with Pokemon and TCG stuff set up, and there was a lot of people there looking to buy it too. Definitely was not your normal sports card crowd. It was much more of a crowd filled with Pokemon, TCG, and sports cards.
Okay, good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, a show of that size, I'm okay with too, because you're going to get a lot of sports cards under the roof as well. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, Joe, Josh, any thoughts, comments, anything else before we because I think, oh yeah, Josh, go ahead, buddy.
Piggybacking on card shows, I was at the Dallas card show Thursday and Friday, and that was fun. I got to see our friend the Tall Man and also some other people, and picked up some consignments. It was a good time.
Consignments for 90s auctions,
yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, there we are. There we are. Yep.
Also a supporter of the channel.
That's right. Long time. Yep.
Appreciate. Yeah, good. The Tall Man, Justin 610.
Yes, right. Yes, it was a good show. It was pretty crowded. A lot of more of the younger set, the younger pups, but still fun to go to a show. Never have a bad time at a card show, so that was a good time.
Were you set up or just walking the floor?
Walking the floor. I had already arranged a couple of meetings with people to give me cards, so that worked out very nicely. And I was there for like 24 hours, in and out.
Nice.
I had soccer this morning, so busy day. Look at that. That's a true one of one.
Speaking of rare cards that cannot be replaced, Hoj, you might want to cash out the Mahomes collection for one of these. Joe is showing off the sorry, that's not what I meant to do. Hold on a second. We'll just do that. And I meant to do that button right there, which he's a little blurry, but he's showing off his 1914 Cracker Jack Jeremy Lee autographed sports cards live card. Very nice.
I was hoping for a 1 of 5, but I think because of my own lassitude in providing you my mailing address, I ended up with a of 10 version. But that's fine. Sometimes the 10s are better than the 5s and the 3s. It's all relative, and it's more or less the same card. It doesn't actually bother me because there's no material difference to the front presentation, and that's my last comment on the MJ masterpiece.
It's a parallel. All right. Here, just to get us back to where we were, we'll do that. All right. Well, Chris, you mentioned at the top of the segment when you came on that you had a topic, and why don't we hit that one now? I'm excited to hear about what it is.
Yeah, I think we just actually saw sort of an example of it play out, and so that's what's so interesting about it. But something I was thinking about as I was listening to you and Jonathan talk, and it came up as a subtext, or maybe you guys even explicitly discussed it, and I was just kind of distracted by the game, and maybe I missed it. But the topic is this: what are the considerations that go into deciding whether you want to stay as a private collector who sort of operates in your own world, but you don't have like a public social media account, you're not showing off your new pickups, you're certainly not making podcasts or doing appearances or marketing yourself publicly in any way. So what are the considerations that go into whether to go that route versus stay private? The trade-offs between being a public collector versus a private collector. And so like some of the specifics of this is like, how does it impact your ability to build a network of people? Like, how do you meet people if you're not publicly out there? Like, do you have to really be ambitious in building up relationships privately and really stay on top of them if you're not going to be visible? And how does it impact your ability to buy cards? Do people sort of use it against you when they sort of know more about how you operate and what's in your collection? But also, does it make more cards available to you as a result of being visible? And then how does it impact your ability to sell, right? Like I would think that being public probably makes it easier to reach more people to sell cards if you ever need to sell them or trade. And another point that I thought of is, and this is something you actually brought up specifically, which is does it actually change the way and the types of cards that you collect if you're never going to be flexing them on social media? So there's no flex points, there's no show off points. It's just really just you're the person who's going to sit there and enjoy the card for yourself. And so how does that? So those are some of the ways to flesh out the topic. But the big topic is, how do you decide whether to step into the public arena as a collector or to stay private?
Yeah, it's really interesting, actually. I have a few thoughts on it, and one of them is, you talk about the social media, like showing cards that you own, getting feedback on them, and then also being sort of influenced. Like, how are we influenced? If you like, there's one thing to be said for lurking, and then there's another thing to be said for just not being on social media at all. By not being on social media at all, I think you are missing out on opportunities of discovering cards that you might like being influenced by either what we would deem an influencer, or just a private account, just a collector who shows cards. I mean, I'm influenced by these sorts of accounts all the time. Like, whoa, that's a nice card I didn't know about. I'm going to go look into it. So it's not just about you showing what you have. It's exposing yourself to more opportunities. And
yeah, Jay Lee's got a little stick on his feed, but I would agree with that too. And he's back.
if I go, just handle it for me there, please, and talk. But I was just saying, like, am I here?
Mostly.
Okay. So imposter syndrome, are you introverted or extroverted, comes to mind for me. Do you have a paranoia of showing people what you have in terms of secure them? Do you have social phobias? And then are you like even a germaphobe, might not want to go to card shows and meet people? Stretching there, but those are that I don't really know, because for me, I've always been a pretty social, out there, extroverted person. So I don't know really any other way, but that's what came to mind for me. So put it to some of the other guys here who might have better things to say than I did. Joe, you want to try?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, since most of my hobby life was in a incognito mode, I guess you could say, I would say there's trade-offs both ways. I would say though that when I became more public, what comes with the public is the conversations that you have with really smart people and really experienced people, and people whose wisdom you can learn from. And so while on the one hand you might get influenced in ways that take you a little bit out of maybe your North Star or whatever, you also gain both kind of discrete knowledge about certain circumstances and issues, and more broad-based knowledge. I think about Clubhouse. When I joined Clubhouse maybe like 4 or 5 years ago now, I learned a great deal, from Carvin, from people that were in the industry, Colin, Jordan, you, Jay Lee. Like, I learned a lot about people's sensibilities, and that informed my my collecting habits in ways that it definitely changed it for the better. I think I just became more cognizant of what was valued. Zane, South Park, like, learned a lot from that guy. And the more connections that you have in that way, I think yeah, there were also a few influences that maybe weren't, took me away from my own sensibilities, and I later came back to them. So maybe some rabbit holes too, but for the most part, I think just the capacity to have conversations, get feedback, have, thought partnering with people that really have been around the block a few times. To me, that's a net positive.
it's a net positive for sure. I think unless you have social issues, it's a net positive. I think, right? Because you're only gonna we're so everything's tunnel vision as a human being. You only know your own path. Like that's really what you know. Even when you listen to others, it still runs through all of your filters, which are only based on your experiences. Your filters are made up of the anatomy of your filters are your experiences and what you've seen over time. So it's always good to at least open yourself up to these things and see things from a different perspective. So I know this isn't really, because your question, Chris, was really what is the catalyst for people to go from private collector to more public, more social media involvement in their hobbying? And the catalyst might just be like what Jonathan did. He sent me an email asking me to look at his card because he just wanted he wanted me to do that with him. We did. And then I said, hey, I said, come on my show and you need a card account on Instagram before you do it. And he did. And now I think he's going to make a lot of great friends, it's just, so yeah. Josh, what do you think? I mean, you always come on. You're like, you don't even really follow the hobby news, which is refreshing for a lot of us that you're the one panelist who doesn't. But what about you as far as social media and sort of sharing your collection publicly?
Yeah, I can't take most of the hobby news. I just don't listen to it because most of it doesn't really affect my collecting tastes and my collecting, sensibilities. But I do like the social aspect of it in terms of meeting collectors like stuff like I do, 90s stuff, dusty stuff. It's great. I met Hoj, met you, met Joe. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. So that aspect is great. And you could, and like Chris said, you have a network and you can two of the biggest cards I ever got, were from people I met on, Instagram or Facebook or something. So, and that's great. So I think if you, we always talk about carefully curating your feed, if you can do that, every month, kind of update it and get rid of some annoying posts. But yes, followers, it's great. So yeah, overall, it's a net positive, I would say.
I think so too. Couple comments from the chat. GC says, shout out Clubhouse, that 8th-tier social media app. Is it still a thing? Are there still? Yeah.
Every couple days, I'll get a notification, but I'm fast asleep. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like,
and is it the same people that were on it a few years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Chris C said, I found out about great 90s inserts from channels online and Facebook groups. Picked up some Barry Sanders and Merino die cuts recently. Yep. Jeremy from California says, great talking points, guys. My family didn't even know my collection hobby until years and years into it. I think a lot of us thought we were on an island. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Hoops Hobby Hangout says, for me, it's being able to talk about cards. I always want to talk about cards, and social media allows that. It's also why I miss the relevance of long form conversations like used to be on forums. He's talking about message boards sort of things. Yeah, that was those were the days. I was very active on several message boards for quite some time. So definitely hear that. Okay. GC, Big Rangs always said, it's all about the relationships. Big Rangs.
Big Rangs. Hey, by the way, I Jay Lee, I think I told you and Josh, if you can make it to Dallas, maybe you can make it to California. I don't know. It would be great to see you out there at the West Coast Card Show. But I know a few people that have confirmed recently, accommodations and plane tickets. The numbers are growing, so I encourage all the people in the chat, all the people listening to this. Josh Adams, I know Hoj is going to be there. In fact, Hoj, I saw that Card Ladder looks to be sponsoring the VIP packages, which 3 months free. I mean, that's a boon right there to get the VIP package. So go Card Ladder. And Jay Lee, I know you're going to give me some story about, how you can't make it down, or you're going to be in America, so you will have already crossed the border. It's really just a matter of you taking a 30-minute flight from Arizona to LA and getting an Uber, and you can be with us also. I hope that you all consider that. Ontario, the President's Day weekend, Valentine's Day. Let's go.
I wish I was at the last one in August. I wish I could come to this one. I've got something starting on Tuesday that I can't miss. So I have to work over the weekend. I would really, really like to go. I'm going to the next one in August. So more
And
card shows than this year is my New Year's resolution. So.
Well, I will be on vacation in Arizona at that time. It's not completely impossible. I'll put it that way because, I'll have to get permission from my wife. But we'll be there with some family. So it's not like I would be abandoning her to be with the kids alone. So that's not, so it's going to be really tough. I'd say I give it a 10% chance. But I appreciate the push, Joe. I can't say that I've never pushed you to come to a card show, so I guess I deserve it as well. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. I hear you. Here, Stukes here says it's all about networking, shows, social media, clubs, etc. I am very introverted, and the hobby has helped me out and about with all the friends I've made. And I got to meet Stukes, I think, at Atlantic City in like 2021, I believe it was. And I wouldn't have met Stukes if it wasn't for him coming out there. So that was something I was grateful for to be able to do for sure. Was meeting Stukes at that one show. I got to shout out the Hobby Spectrum guys one more time because we hit 500 people on the directory. And I think I showed this last week, but no, this happened. I think this happened during the week. So I just want to share with you guys something on the hobbyspectrum.com. This is the website, Discover Your Collector Identity. You get put into one of these 7 archetypes, but it's not a box. There, we all dip our toes. But I think 2 days ago, it hit 500 people, or maybe it was yesterday, who had opted into the directory. And that was pretty awesome. And the 500th was actually Louis from the Hockey Cards Gong Show. Just happened to be the 500th person to join because I was watching it to see who it would be. And he was asking me, he's like, I'm like, well, if you do it right now, you might be the 500th person. Says, okay, let me go do it. So he kind of got her done and was the 500th person. So that's pretty cool. And I'm all, one of the things that after you take the assessment is you fill in your social media. So, GW Nuki just joined while we've been live here. He's got his Instagram, his YouTube, and his Twitter here. One of the things we're adding, and we're adding it hopefully by the end of the month, is the ability to choose players, teams, and sports that you collect. So Chris Hoge would add Michael Jordan, maybe only Michael Jordan after a month from now. Otherwise, he would add Jordan, Mahomes, McCaffrey, Luka, Jokic. He'd be out. Christina would add Tyrese Maxey, and Josh would add Frank Thomas. Right? I mean, we don't. But you could the ability to add players you collect so that people can know who collects what as well. So that's all coming. And it's going to be really cool, I have to say, because we've got a great way of doing it in a standardized fashion. You're not going to type in Michael Jordan, the next guy types in Jordan Michael, and the next guy has a spelling mistake. It's all going to be standardized. So really excited about that, you guys. And if you're not yet on the hobby spectrum, which we all are, kind of like psychologically, but if you want to kind of quantify it and have that shared language sort of thing and be discovered and do more discovery, go to the website, hobbyspectrum.com, request the access code, and you will get it very soon. But make sure that you check Maxi Kleba? Maxi Kleba, that's right. I had the wrong Max. Yeah, had the wrong Maxi there for Christina. But anyway, yeah, request the code, and we'll get it to you within a day or a day and a half. And then you can take the assessment and join the directory, which is just going to keep on getting more powerful, guys. Okay. Thank you. Nick Chen says, Jay Lee, you did well on the Professor show, Professor Sports Cards. Thank you very much. BP Squared says, enjoy your vacation in our great state, Jeremy. Get up to Sedona. I've been to Sedona in the past. I have to say, one of the most visually appealing places I've ever been. What's the place in Arizona? Garden of the Gods. Where's Garden of the Gods? Isn't that just outside Colorado Springs? Does anybody know? There's a state park. I think it's called Garden of the Gods. That place, Sedona. These are unbelievable places to go, and I've loved them all. So thank you for that call out, BP Squared. I've also been talking on Instagram to a few people about which the LCSs in the Phoenix area, and I do plan to check a bunch of those out. So if you're in Arizona and you want to meet up at an LCS, hit me up. I'll be in Arizona from the 7th to the 18th, and we're going to be in Scottsdale. That's where we're staying. Just FYI. Love to meet some people, especially if we can do it at a card show. Stu says Colorado Springs. Yes, that's definitely where it was. Good evening, Tomcat. That's Matthew. Works at Upper Deck as a brand manager, a brand builder. What is up, Matthew? Good to see you. He was a guest on the show not too long ago. Pops and Comps book tour in Arizona, says Bob Boozle. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, enough about that. Let's go back to the panel as we kind of wind this down. Any other topic? I mean, we know that Ryan Hogue, president of PSA, but also he's not just the president of PSA. All the grading companies filter up into Ryan now. So I saw a comment somewhere saying that, PSA president is making comments about Beckett. I forget who said this, so no offense if it was you. Just to clarify, I heard a comment that, PSA president is making comments about Beckett, so it's just going to go the way of Beckett's going to go the way of PSA. But really, Ryan oversees all three grading brands now, not just PSA. So not that he's the president of them, but they all filter up into him. Anyway, he made the comments that, they're going to be investing in SGC and Beckett. We don't have to rehash that. There's enough guys that have talked about that. But listen, if they do that, I think that's good. I think it's good. I think it's what we want to see. But who knows what's going to happen? It would be great if SGC wasn't going to be a boutique grading company anymore. I'm just trying to think about what's been in the news lately. That's been in the news lately. There's something else I know that was out there. It's not coming to my mind. But anyway, any other comments from the panel, Joe, Chris, Josh, on anything before we wrap up? Because otherwise, Josh, please.
I saw something very interesting at this Dallas show. So apparently, Beckett raised or doubled or tripled their prices for raw card review, right? I guess
$65. Yeah, that's what I heard.
The line to get your raw card reviewed, the wait was 2.5 to 3 hours.
Wow.
I just in Dallas, I don't get it at all. At what point does a collector say enough's enough? We're getting gouged.
But
it's just.
But they're paying. The lineup was 2 to 3 hours long. So why would they raise the prices?
It drove me insane. It's crazy. I mean, sorry, go on.
Well, I've got a response to that because I heard that news or that rumor, and it sounds like you're confirming it as reality. I think it went from 25 to 65. But the funny thing is, when I'm thinking about the West Coast Card Show, that was one of the things I wanted to actually do a few raw card reviews because of how much more expeditious it is to get something at least reasonably assessed, if not slabbed, and in certain markets that can be critical. And so, but 65 feels a bit like a gouge. But I still might do it on a couple cards. There's still a couple cards that I might want to just have authenticated / graded and pay the extra $40 if depending on the line. I mean, I'm not going to wait 3 hours to do it, but anyway. But yeah, that's interesting that you saw that. So what you're adding to the equation is not only did they raise the price, but people were still lining up to pay that.
Yeah, it's like Netflix. Netflix keeps raising their price. They keep getting new customers. At what point does the cost just is not worth it? When is it just at what level as a collector do you be like, you know what, enough's enough? But I mean, apparently there's no end in sight because they keep raising prices across the board.
Well, my question, Josh, and to the panel is: are they charging more because now they're under PSA? Are they and thus, vis-a-vis being under PSA, they are more stable and or potentially valuable? Is there actually a logical reason why that $65 now might be more meaningful?
I have an answer to that, but it's very different than what you thought. Mine is because they're a monopoly, and where else are you going to go? CGC?
Yeah,
they don't set up with these things. I mean, I think if there's ever evidence that PSA is a monopoly, it's raising these rates. One guy controls 3 different grading companies, the 3 biggest ones. I think this is a I think it's bad for the hobby.
The only thing I'll say about, well, I'll say a lot of things, but what I'm thinking is if Collectors Holdings is going to invest in reviving the Beckett brand and or the SGC brand, I think that's good for the cards that are in those holders. Price to raw grade or price to grade aside, I just think that, because I think you kind of said, Joe, is it because they're under PSA or at least beside PSA under the same parent? I think that's a good thing for cards in those holders. I got a good amount of Beckett graded slabs, and if the brand goes away, I'm not crossing them over. Like they're in those slabs. Same with my SGC slabs. I'm not really interested in crossing them over. But the fact that they might now do what nobody expected, because a lot of the criticism, not criticism, but the forecasting about what they were going to do with Beckett was based on what they did with SGC, that we knew that they had done with SGC up until this point. Now it looks like they might not be continuing down that same path with SGC, and it looks like they may not do with Beckett what we thought or they were doing for a while for SGC. If that's the case, then it's good for both of those brands. Yeah, I think, right? It's good for both those brands. So cost to grade, I mean, listen, I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the guarantees. We know PSA has the best guarantee in the industry. It's a major benefit to everyone who holds PSA slabs, even the people who paid the upcharges or the insurance. It's good because it does assign value to those cards. So they are going to get some of that back eventually if they do sell them. But maybe some of the best practices that are existing at PSA will be transferred or borrowed by SGC and Beckett eventually. I don't know what's gonna. The only thing is that I don't really care what I hear anybody say, whether it's Ryan Hogue or Nat Turner or anyone from PSA. It's like words are one thing, actions and what actually happens are completely different. I just will watch what's going on versus worrying about too much about what they're saying, although what they're saying is interesting in the moment. And not to discredit either of those guys. I mean, they're both very smart people. They are. Love them or hate them, they're both smart. They both want they both want to make money off of these businesses, so they're going to do whatever they can to do that. And if that means prolonging the lives of the two acquisitions they made last year, then great. Or in the last couple of years, then great. Anyway, that's all I have to say on that right now, I think. Josh?
If I could just respond. Just to respond to what you said, I think PSA probably identified that raw card review RCR is valuable. Like they probably assessed within the market with what we know with shows, that's a value add that is maybe under, and so here they are. Like what I'm interested in is what other moves are ahead that if collectors, sorry, I keep saying PSA, but if Collectors Universe evaluates, the strengths of SGC, the strengths of BGS and all the different services rendered, because it's not a perfect overlap, right? And so I think it kind of makes sense in a way. And it dovetails with my own sense that I want some RCRs because I don't want to wait 6 months for getting, a little assessment going and 65, like same day or, same show, whatever. Like that's a value add to a number of cards that I have. So anyway, it's fascinating that you brought that up, Josh. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, good one, Josh. Philly Junk Wax here says CGC actually backs their slabs legally and in writing. Even if found fake, they refund. So my research on CGC is that they do have an authenticity and grade guarantee. It applies to most standard labels. There are some of their labels that are excluded. And if a card is found to not be genuine or if it's overgraded, CGC will make it right by either paying fair market value, refunding the difference, or replacing the card, whichever remedy they choose. Their general rule is that they are only responsible for the grading fees you paid. but this limit does not apply to the specific remedies above. The cap only prevents extra claims for things like inconvenience or lost value beyond what they agree to pay. And of course, the cards must remain sealed. That just goes without saying, of course. So there is some value there, but the thing, or like some protection there, but the thing is that it's the remedy that they choose. So I think there's a bit of wiggle room there for them to decide how they want to handle each case as it goes. They don't have language though, like PSA does, which PSA is saying we will pay you what up to I'm forgetting the numbers right now, up to 250,000 per card or 500,000 lifetime on an overgraded or a error in authentication. So I don't know that CGC is going to be willing to pay out $10 million on it. Like if they had a 9.5 mantle that sold for 12 million like SGC recently had or did a few years ago, I don't know that CGC is going to pay out $12.5 million on that if it's found to be counterfeit, a couple years later. But there is some protection there. When protection is limited to the cost of grading, that's not protection. That's okay. Thanks for the $50 back. Like, come on, it's a drop in the bucket. So anyway, Carl from Oz, good way to spend Sunday afternoon here, sponging up your collective knowledge. Jeremy, I repeat, you do not need that 1960 Bob Gibson. I do. Well, the good thing for both of us, Carl, is that is not a rare card. We can both find one. Let's try to stay out of each other's way along the way, though, Carl. I'm glad to hear you're having a good day over there. Okay, I'm good, guys, to sign off on the show. Are we good? All right. Well, that's great. Thank you to the chat for being here. As always, thank you to Jonathan Epstein, who joined us earlier on in the evening, a new collector joining the conversation. Remember, tomorrow night I'll be back for the Fanatics Collect Weekly auction ending watch party. Monday is Miller and Miller on the show with Ben Pernfus, who's heading up their sports card auctions. The Canadian company, they got some great cards, a 52 mantle, an amazing Stanley Cup card, among others. Come join us on Monday or watch it afterwards. That auction ends on January the 25th. CIA Auctions. Their auction ends tomorrow, guys. Go check that out. CollectorInvestorAuctions.com. That is ending tomorrow, and their February auction runs from February 5th to the 15th, with the preview opening on the 29th. Josh, when's the next 90s auctions coming? Do we have that scheduled yet?
Yeah, we're starting in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from Monday.
2 weeks from Monday is the auction opening. Yeah. Okay.
26. So
the auction's curated for the most part?
Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm waiting for 2 more things. And then also, can I give a shout out to Mr. Minty? I saw him at the show Friday. So say hi to him. And I saw Chad Shipper in there. So hi, Chad. And then if you can ban Chris C 4264, that'd be great.
With the go round comment.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Thank you, everybody. Laura, Carl, Jeremy Filippelli, Brad, Bob Boozle, the collection firm, Rock Latex. We haven't gone long enough. If Jeremy didn't need a bathroom break, I need to go. Ron Fig, thank you so much. Sis, thanks for giving us a place to hang out and chat. I love that. Thank you. Happy to. This has been, we're almost 6 years running here, guys, on Saturday nights here on Sports Cards Live on YouTube. That's mind-blowing. I remember we did a 3-year anniversary show. Feels almost like yesterday. And next week will be episode 300 of this particular flagship show on the channel. Well, next Saturday will be episode 300 of Sports Cards Live, which is kind of crazy as well. But we're over 800 episodes on the channel between all the different shows that we've done here. So thank you, Chris C. Thank you, Foul Ball. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Again, and Thursday is the Fanatics premiere show with Adam Gray, and we got giveaways for I think the first time, courtesy of Fanatics. They reached out and said, "Hey, we'd like to do some giveaways." So we're going to do some giveaways on Thursday as well. You'll need to be in the chat or at least watching it to participate. Stiff Arm Wax in the house. Bear down, he says. What's up, Stiff? Always good to see you, buddy. Chris C says 300 shows, 300 wins. Thank you, Chris C. it's been an honor to do this, and just I've enjoyed it immensely, guys. I get people thanking me all the time. I'm sure you do too, Chris, for your content on the crossover and the Hojcast, and all you content creators out there. We get thanked a lot, and it's wonderful. And I accept those. I accept the thank yous. I really do. It is effort, but I got to tell you, like, thank you guys, because I'll speak for myself and other content creators for the most part. We love doing this stuff. We wouldn't if we didn't love it. We love doing the content. It's so much fun, and it's so much more fun with all of you guys watching, listening, engaging, and reaching out privately, all that stuff. It's just wonderful. So thank you for that. And on that note, here on January the 17th, 2026, this episode of Sports Cards Live is now over.
Over.
I just make cracks me up every time. And with that, have a great week ahead, everybody, and good night.
Thanks for tuning in and being a part of the Sports Cards Live community. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and most of all, keep collecting. More great content to come. Sports Cards is a lifestyle.